Alright. Fuck!
What have you just done? You did.
Just smacked my arm on the table.
What did you just do?
Smacked my arm on the table. Okay.
Well, there
Right,
you go. That's at the beginning of the episode. Just
Brilliant.
go for it now. There you go, mate. That's the intro. Go for it.
Oh, welcome back to the Takeaway Sunday podcast, our 5th episode, and today we've got our good uni friend Shaun O'Byrne with us to talk about a lot of things. Really, you know, it's obviously you're at uni, Shaun, right now in London, whilst me and Max are back home. I suppose, how's it been? Just you and Sam?
Yeah. It's been alright. We've kind of just both of us lost a bit of motivation because it's just been like a bit dead, really. Like we tried to do stuff to occupy the time, but honestly, it's just been kind of slow going.
Yeah, I don't
I
blame
just
you.
felt
to
like
be
it's
fair.
never ending at some point.
What's it like
Yeah.
in Wembley at the moment? Is it dead, or is it still busy?
It's like I barely see people. Like when I went out this morning, it was empty. Really, there's obviously builders and stuff because that's what mostly Wembley is at the moment. But other than that, there wasn't really many people.
Is the construction waking you up?
No, not anymore. I don't know if they're doing different stuff or I just haven't left the window open because it's been so cold. So I've been woken up by it in a while.
That
But then
first
again, I
few
haven't been
weeks were
sleeping.
awful.
So
I remember that.
Oh yeah, it was just constantly being woke up at like 9 in the morning or whatever.
Innit?
Just thinking, shut up, I want to sleep.
we got Sundays off. They allowed us to have
Yeah,
Sundays.
oh yeah, we had a nice Sunday off.
But then
Cheers.
we needed Sunday because a lot of
Yeah.
Saturdays we were drinking, so we
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
that Sunday. They were quite considerate
They
on
did.
that part.
They did think about us.
No,
Oh,
we
obviously.
worked in the winter.
Oh, don't, Shaun. That was so
Let's
bad.
see.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
just wanted to throw everything at that alarm. So, that video we've got to go when it, because do you remember that night, Shaun, where it just was it the Logan Paul fight? Logan Paul KSI, and everyone stayed up late, and I was quite ill because I just worked a shift at Wembley. Come back, and I was like, I just couldn't. I was coughing constantly, so I went to bed early to try and like actually get up for this fight, and then like I must have had like an hour sleep before this fire alarm like non-stop through the whole night. It was so annoying. I ended up downstairs in my dressing gown in the freezing cold.
Yeah, we ended up standing out there for like ages, wondering what the hell was going on.
Yeah, and obviously being on the 17th floor, we just kept going up and down, and then eventually at one point we were told like, "Oh yeah, everyone needs to evacuate," and it was absolute mayhem.
Remember, what was it? It wasn't even in our block.
Yeah, I know. We were
For
the
some
second
reason,
block,
was
weren't we? Yeah.
both buildings.
Oh, I know.
The fire alarm was connected.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, that video of Joe is it's top tier. It's top tier. I remember because we were playing. I think what was it? We were playing Fortnite or something. We must have been doing a death run. And yeah, it was like, oh, we're all gonna head off now. And I remember staying up a little bit later. I just get this video of Joe. It's incredible. What a video.
Oh, it's yeah, it makes me crack up every time.
Those were interesting time when we did those.
The death runs.
Who was it? I think it was. Sounded like he broke his controller.
Everyone used to get so angry.
When Joe had to keep going in to help him.
Oh, the clips that I've got from us playing like death runs and stuff. The one I think my favorite clip of us playing a death run is probably Ethan when he's going like ha 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 ha. And he goes, yeah. No.
Oh, sure. Do you remember it got to a point where it was raising, like people were getting, the people below us got that pissed off, didn't they? Because they came up and knocked on our door. And it was like, yeah.
Please. I was like, no.
It wasn't even that late as
Just like-
well.
Yeah, I was like, you know the time, like what? I think it was on a Friday as well, so it was not even like
Yeah.
they had uni or anything till the next day.
Oh, that was funny because I just remember sitting in Joe's room because like I think my game had glitched or something. So I was watching Joe do it, and then all of a sudden we just bang on the door. No one does anything to start with, and then there's another bang, and then like big man Shaun, as he is, goes like, "Oh, I'll go have them." Opens the door, and it's like just these two people like, "Can you be quiet, please?" And like it's Friday, it's like 9:30. Like you're in a student accommodation. What do you expect? Like
Yeah.
you know, and then they'd start like banging their stuff as well, like below and or like maybe hitting our ceiling, or which would be our floor, their ceiling. And it was just like, shut up, man.
Yeah, it makes me think like, what do people think when they're moving into a student accommodation?
I know, yeah.
It's like there's gonna be students with their friends. There's gonna be people are gonna be drinking. There's gonna be noise.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous.
It's like, what was it when in Skate when that one night where we could hear, was it the people above us?
Yeah,
And we're sort of like, we're not going on their door, like
Yeah.
banging their door down, just like, hey, shut the fuck up and stuff.
yeah. You got to expect it, like, you know,
Yeah.
because
who
at
was it?
some
I
point
think it
we're going
was-
to sing.
Do you remember in second year when I think it was above us, just kept running down the hall, and all we heard was people running
Yeah,
above us when we were in the hallway,
ridiculous. It was
just
just
sitting there doing the Hush podcast.
Classic Hush podcast, the original, where this idea stemmed from.
Yeah.
I suppose, Sean, just speaking about obviously first year of uni, once again, we lived together, and we, you know, it was a good time. I remember first day moving in. Alex and Cole were already there. I think you were one of the last to move in. I think it was you, or you and Swinners came at similar time.
Last, I think.
Yeah, but it was the same day. It was just the latest, and then obviously got to know each other and all this. And to be fair, without even realizing, we'd already spoken brief. I say spoken. We were in a five-a-side group chat on Facebook or something, which I'm pretty sure you tried to organise and just didn't work.
Literally no one like bothered.
Yeah, I know. And then obviously that night, the uni sets up like it was like we went to the Green Man, weren't it? So we went there. We had a few drinks. Came back, and then it just turned to mayhem, really, didn't it? When we came back.
Very, very quickly it turned to carnage.
Oh yeah.
I think it was when Carl decided to say for us to do Jaeger bombs.
Oh, it was good. It was a good feel. Like I just, we didn't have a clue about any of each other. Like you know, it was none of this. And then, you know, it just so quickly, just what drinking does, isn't it? Really, just brings people together.
Very much.
And then you ended up, you had
That's
Swinners like, and you had Swinners in the bin.
Yeah.
Oh, that was colour. And the
That's
worst thing
weird.
is the way his body like was in it was just like it wasn't normal.
He was folded in the bin.
It was just folded in the bin, and there's just a picture of like you and Alex next to him.
Literally,
just-
didn't even help him. just-
No, yeah, the kid is dying. Like he's just really dying. Like, he threw up in that bin.
Oh.
It was that was disgusting.
And
And
then
then
he passed out on the floor in the hallway.
yeah. Oh, it was just so funny. But I suppose what was your
Bring him,
favourite?
into his
Go on.
room?
Oh, because he was dying the next day, weren't he?
He was gone. He was off the planet for a couple of days.
I think he was really ill for like about a week after that or something. Because I just remember like we obviously planned to go out. He was like, "Yeah, I'm still recovering from that night." It really messed with him.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was gonna say, what's your favourite moment through first year? What was something that just sticks out? That was just
From first year, I think. Oh, what was it? I think my favorite moment from first year that the first time we went clubbing.
oh yeah, Piccadilly
Ooh.
Institute.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was good.
introduced Carl's signature dance.
Oh, Carl Sagan. Yeah, I've carried it over. I've carried on the Carl dance.
Oh,
Yeah, the little.
Look for.
Got in memory of Cole.
Paying tribute.
Oh, yeah,
I'll
you've got to
never,
pay tribute.
I'll never forget my first night clubbing when it was XOYO, me, Shaun, and Ethan. Everybody else bottled it in the end. Nobody else wanted to come, and it was just us three.
Everyone bottled it.
Everybody bottled it. I was like, please say we still get to go on a night, because I hadn't been on a night out yet. We were supposed to go to the loop, but that ended up not happening because, yeah, like we said, Charlie forgot her bag, left her bag on the tube, and then yeah, we ended up going. And I just remember the stories of Shaun dancing. It's like he's brilliant. It's like you don't know what to expect until you've seen it. I was like, okay then, and then I got to experience it on my first night. I was like, oh my god. No matter what, sorry, there's people around you, Shaun. There's people like always goes like, "Go on, Shaun," and then me and Ethan would pipe up every now and goes like, "Go on, Shaun, go on, Shaun," and then he's like, in your element every time, in your element.
Dance like that in a long time.
Oh, we've got hopefully we'll have all of summer for you to catch up on it, on your dance moves.
Yeah. Oh god, I don't even think I can move like that. I feel like I'm getting old now.
Getting old. 22, Shaun.
Do it, mate.
22 in May, yeah.
Bloody hell.
So speaking about dancing, Shaun, where did it come about? Your dancing, because it's not something you've just it's not something me and Max can do. Like you've took a bit of practice.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm decent.
I don't think you're Shaun's level.
No, no one's on Shaun's level. Shaun is quite literally built different when it comes to dancing.
Yeah.
So I taught myself to dance when I was young, just watching videos and watching music videos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of enjoyed dancing, and then I remember doing street dancing and stuff like that when I was at. So that kind of from that, and I just kind of just had a natural knack for it, but I just never really pursued it because I just did football.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I mean, it is something which is every night out. We just know it's just if Shaun's there.
Yeah, there's going to be a dance battle. There will be a dance battle.
Always a dance battle. And then this dude will start doing stuff on the floor, and then Shaun's like, "Yeah, no, I'm done."
Yeah, it's just like I'm not doing that. I'm not touching the floor, bro.
Not when I've been drinking. I'm not gonna start breakdancing on the floor.
But it's so fun. It's like you don't go looking for it. It's like you're dancing. Next thing you know, Shaun gets a gentle push. Sort of like, oh, you know what, we're beefing now. Gentle push, and there's a dance battle. It's like, where's this come from? Every night out, they're like, yep, Shaun's in a dance battle. So they're like, but they just come up to you all the time.
Even look for it.
Yeah. Then we're in a circle. Go on, Shaun! Go on, Shaun!
We are your hype men.
Yeah.
I think the best one was when we went to Piccadilly and I ended up on the stage.
Oh, that was a brilliant night out. I love that. You literally had the whole floor's attention. So Max, have you been to Piccadilly?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Okay.
I was there with
so
you.
do you know Oh, okay. There we go. It's been a long time back. So do you know they have those the small sort of stage? It's not. I don't know what platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shaun was on that, and he was just dominating it, and everyone was everyone had their cameras on him, everyone was just hyping him up. It's brilliant. And then just me and Cole and Alex came out, but he just kept coming and going as he does. Alex never stays. I think that was the same night Alex just went home because he was bored.
Even though he wasn't, that was the thing.
Yeah, I know.
He literally said to us that he doesn't know why he went home.
He was like, I was about to do it. But yeah, Shaun was just getting so much attention. It was just brilliant, floor.
That does remind me of XOYO, because at XOYO on the top floor, there's when you walk through the door at the very far back, there's the bit of a stage thing, isn't there? Next to where the DJ is it? And yeah, Shaun was just on there going for it. It's there's 3 different levels. It was like a podium. It's you have 3 different levels, and Shaun was on the top one. And he just got a crowd surrounding him, going for it. I was sort of like, oh my god, this is brilliant. What am I witnessing? It's amazing.
I had to get you and Ethan up there as well.
Yeah,
I was like, come
me and
on.
Ethan were sort of like, no, this is your time, Sean. We'll let you shine here. And then Sean's like, no, please come up, please.
Please.
I need a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no one can dance as good as you, Sean.
No, mate.
So it's just disappointment.
You garner so much attention.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. I don't know why that's reminding me, but do you remember? I think it was in like the first week of our first year, Sean. Do you remember that video that I've got of like? It goes onto you, then onto Swinners, and then he lobs a remote at your head. Do you remember that video? Oh, that's one of my favourite videos from first year. I think.
I don't think
It's
I've seen
brilliant.
that video.
You must have. Like
I've
it
not,
was
I
just
don't think
so.
Video,
Yeah, it was just.
the one where Winners threw the crutch at Ethan's face.
Yeah, you see that
Oh,
one.
I love that
We
video.
put that. Yeah, we put that up. We spoke about that in the last podcast with Ethan. Matt just loves throwing things at people's heads. Apparently, that's his inner cricket boy.
I gotta see this video of just Matt just lobbing a remote at you.
Oh,
If you
it's
can,
brilliant.
I gotta see it.
It
If
was
you've
just
still
so
got it.
like, yeah, I've definitely still got it. It was just so out of the blue. Like I was just recording. Don't even know why I was, but it just goes. And next thing you know, you just lobbed it at your head, and I perfectly caught it. It was just one of those things, just everything lined up perfectly. Just broke us.
What about the video where I threw the chair?
Oh, God.
What?
I don't think I've got that one. Go on, Sean, explain that.
So me and Matt were having a chair fight, and Matt threw his chair first, and not thinking I would throw it back, I just launched it.
It's oh, mate, that
You
first
can't-
apartment.
See, we can't lob chairs in the flat at the moment because even if it's
Yeah.
risky enough to sit on it, let alone throw it about. It's like we've already broke one chair.
We broke two, haven't we?
Well, I remember
You
did I
broke.
break
two.
both of them?
I think you did.
Did I break both of them? I know I
Yeah.
definitely broke one of them because did I break both of them just from sitting on them?
Yeah, and you're like the lightest person.
Yeah, and
in
it
the
just
flat as
collapsed from
well.
underneath me. I was on the floor, so like, what do I do here? I'm just sat on the chair on the floor.
Oh god, that was.
What were we
Don't
playing?
even
It was
have
like
it.
Ring of Fire or something like that. I remember sitting opposite somebody, and I just remember seeing them. I just remember them, like me, just getting lower and them getting taller. I was like, "What's going on?" Boom, on the floor, hit the deck.
Oh. How are the chairs at the moment, Sean? Are they all good still?
I think it was me. We were having a conversation, and you just
Yeah, it just dipped.
Oh, another iconic
What?
moment, Sean. I was going to say another iconic moment, Sean, is the ice skating. Because obviously, you know, me, you.
I wish I'd
Oh,
seen this video. I wish I was there
yeah,
for this.
yeah, it was so good. Like,
as soon as I got onto the ice.
literally, weren't it? As soon as and we were at the front, so everyone was behind us. It's brilliant.
I literally was just like, I fell on my ass straight away, pretty much. I literally said to you guys, if I go ice skating, I'm gonna fall because I've only ever gone once before when I was younger, and I was dreadful.
Brilliant. Oh, it was like we almost didn't go as well. Like I think it was mainly it was me and someone else who were pushing for it. It was me, you, Sean, Ethan, and Sam, weren't it?
Yeah.
And then it was me and someone else. I think it was me and Ethan. We're like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. And then eventually, like we got on there. We ready to go on. We're at the front of the queue, and Sean's right at the front. Like everyone behind can see. And we were obviously all joking. Who's going to fall over first? Who's going to fall over? One step, boom, back, straight on his ass. It was, and then, it was hilarious. And then the person came up to you and was like, "Ignore them, just ignore them." And we're like, well, "We're his mates." We are going to laugh at him. And I think I might have mentioned it on a previous podcast. But do you remember, Sean, when you almost like you fell and there was a young girl in front of you? and you obviously your blade shot up.
Oh, what when Oh, what is it? Yeah, I basically had to try and dodge her, basically.
Yeah, because you almost I mean, obviously accidentally, but you could have just sliced her open.
Well, I wouldn't have flipped over, but she was in front of me, and I was going quicker than she was. Because I was starting to get the hang of it slowly, and then she's in front of me, and I couldn't go around her because I was too afraid that if I tried to go around her, then I would just fall over again. And instead, I tried to slow down, and then eventually went on my butt.
Mate, you should have just, as you're going by, just pick her up,
Oh,
bob back onto
move.
bob to the
Yeah.
side of you as you're going by.
Oh,
Yeah, let's just say ice skating is not my strong suit.
Can we go
yeah,
this
but
year?
we've
We
got to
go
go
this
again.
year.
We've
Missed
got to go
last year.
again.
I'm not going again.
Oh, you've got to go, Shaun.
Oh,
It's
Shaun.
brilliant.
I'll go to win one lap, but I will watch you guys ice skate because
Oh,
I am.
boo.
Come on, Shaun, you've learned. You can learn from your mistakes from last time. You can do it this time.
Yeah.
Actually, the next day I was bruised to
He
the
was
hell.
so
I
pain.
I literally, I woke up the next day. I was like, I don't want to move.
Oh, it was one of that was a
Oh.
highlight of second year.
And it was wet as well because it had been raining, so I was wet and cold.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was
Oh.
so good. Oh, and then it was like Ethan's panicking as well because Ethan like Sam, just being Sam, pretty much good at everything. Picked it up straight away, and then was like just skating around freely. It took me I think we had it for like an hour. It took me like half an hour before I was like comfortable just like skating without holding on. Shaun gave up after like half an hour.
I
He was
carried on, actually. I carried on pretty much until the end. I stopped it because I was literally, my leg was shaking because of the impact.
Yeah, fair. Fair enough.
Well,
And
you
then
lasted
Ethan-
longer than AP. When me, AP, Charlie, Courtney, and Joe went, AP was. I think he was on there for like 20 minutes. He was sort of like, nah, this ain't for
Oh,
me.
I'd
He
love
was
to
literally
see
just
it.
going around the outside with his hand around the barrier, and that's all he was doing. And he was like, this isn't for me. No, I'm just gonna go and grab a drink and watch you guys.
Yeah, that's what I should have done, but I didn't. I carried.
I'm right that you carried on. It was always funny watching Ethan when because Ethan held on for quite a bit as well, but he eventually did let go near the end. But it was the pure panic of when you have to get past someone, and she had to let go.
yeah.
Because I was next to him most of the time, and he was just the panic in him was brilliant.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is just good fun.
I was glad that I wasn't the only person who fell over, as well as the fact that I wasn't the only person who had to hold on to the side because
Yeah,
if I did, I was gonna thank plant again.
The
It is
majority of
frightening
people.
though. It is frightening
yeah.
when you're ice skating, like, okay, I get in the hang of this, and one thing, like one tiny thing, like your skate like slips or something, like
Yeah.
your life flashes before your eyes. It's like, oh my
It
god,
really does.
this is it. This is the end of me. And then if you manage to keep it together, you're like, oh my god, I'm so good.
Yeah,
I'm odd.
yeah. Oh, exactly. And then obviously we had good old Power League back in the day. Yeah.
Don't even bring that up, mate. Oh, I miss it.
No, it's so.
It's time to
But I feel
reminisce.
like to reminisce it, your favourite Power League moment, Shaun.
Oh, I've got two.
Go on then.
Okay.
So I've got the one where Ethan fell over thin air.
Yeah,
Was I
that is
there
a
for that
classic.
one? Was
Think
that?
so. We'd gone drinking the night before, hadn't we?
Yeah. and he was
Yes, yes, I was there. I remember that.
It's
He
just
was hanging.
it's just chasing the ball and boom.
Funniest part wasn't even the fact that he fell over. It was the fact that he kept on going, and you saw he was gonna fall. He just kept on running.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god. What else your other one, Shaun?
The other one was when what was it when Joe like kept trying to go for 50-50s and I went in for one with him. I absolutely clattered him and he was.
Oh god, I remember that actually. I thought he'd
remember that.
broken something.
Yeah, and I did. Oh, what was it?
He's
Did you
always
kick
like,
the
"Oh,
bottom
why
of his
is no one-"
foot? You kicked the bottom of his foot,
no,
didn't you, or something?
I hit the ball exactly at the same time as he did.
Oh, and he just came off worse.
Yeah, literally. I think I went in. I think he pulled out of it like at the last second, so he got hurt, and I did.
Never pull out. Yeah.
Literally, I was like, you always complain about people not doing it, so when one,
Yeah, Jones go 50-50. The one person that actually will go in on, he comes off really bad. From
I think it didn't help. It didn't help that it was in the air either. I think that was probably the most dangerous
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, you went in for the worst one with him. Of all the other 50-50s you could have got on for, that was the one you decided to go in for. That was when we were doing the keep up challenge after, wasn't it? Because we was like, we can't exactly play like a match because Joe's right next to the goal. We don't exactly want to hit him. So we decided to do some keep ups, and that was when I remember, was it me, AP, and somebody else? We were in like the final. No, I think it was down to me and AP. And I was like, I'd won too, naturally, because I'm amazing. Wink. And I was like, I'll let AP win this one. So I was gonna boot the ball, slipped, smack on my arse.
Yeah.
And you're like, did you mean to do? I was like, I was meant to boot it, but not the slipping over bit. No, that was completely not supposed to happen.
Oh, the amount of
That
good times.
hurt. What was
That was a
what's
good
your
one.
favourite moment, Bazza, from Power League?
Oh, I think just because I don't think it was like that good. It's just the way like it was hyped up. Do you remember, Shaun, when you were like, "Come at me," and then I tapped it? I think I just tapped it past you. But just like the way Matt and Alex, the way Matt and AP just reacted was just brilliant. And they were like,
You just hit it off the wall. I was like, that's cheating. You're not actually come out.
he just had AP and Swinners. They were just like, "Oh!" It was just brilliant.
I'm trying to think of what my favourite moment was. I'll tell you, one of the funniest things was when Ethan just kept getting hit by the ball.
Yeah.
When he's like, the ball would get pinged from side to side, come off his back or something. It's like, rah, fuck off, bruv. He's going. And then I just remember, I was like, I'm not even aiming for him. I just boot the ball, smack on his back again, and he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? He's screaming at us. So I was like, kind of feel bad.
I think that was the same day where we were doing passes from side to side, and he just comes across. I pinged it, and him.
I think my favorite moment though was definitely my screamer I scored, heads and volleys. Ball over the top. And I'd say it was standing up. The ball was probably about here. Yeah, probably about this high. I'm trying to get my leg up onto it. I catch it, and my left leg just sweeps from underneath me. I remember landing splat on my face and watching the ball go top corner. I was sort of there like, I could never do that again, even if I tried. Like, that's probably the best goal I'll ever score in that Power League. It was.
Yeah.
I was like, then you lot were saying that definitely didn't go in. I was like, I'm fuming. That went in. That definitely went in. I would have kicked off. If that didn't count, I would have been fuming because I've landed on my face. I'm injured. I'm there like, ow. And if you lot didn't allow that, I would have kicked off massively.
Oh, we have to go to the Harrow Power League once before the end of this year.
Yeah.
And we have to trek there. It's got to be done.
Memories.
Yeah.
Just one last time, one last hurrah, because the amount of good laughs we had there, it was brilliant.
As much as the park works, it's not as good.
It's not the same.
Like when it was really windy, we just kept booting the ball and someone had to fetch it. Oh, that was when I hit Ethan on the back again, and I never caught a ball as sweet as that. Ethan, what was he doing? He was just me and you were just pinging it to each other, weren't we? And they were in the middle.
I think so.
And I remember catching it on the side volley. Was it Pavard in the World Cup?
Oh yeah.
Catching it sweet like that, and it just catching him cleanly on the back, and he went down. I was there like, I don't care. That is the sweetest ball I've ever hit in my life. And he was like, I can't even complain. It was clean.
I remember one other time in Power League when I think it was another time when we were after drinking, and you tried to come at me and I nutmegged you, and then you were like, you got pissed off, so you turned around and tried to chase after me. I just blocked the ball with my foot, and you went flying.
Flying. I think I do like a front flip in the air. Like I remember that one so vividly because I'm pretty sure it was quite close to the time of when like I knocked it round you because I was like, I've done it once. I just charge it him and I just go boom straight over my head. Massive flip. It's like, oh no, I didn't lay there. Like, fuck, what have I done?
Was it when
Oh.
Matt broke his toe or something? He kicked David. He kicked David with his broken toe.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That was because he broke the toe kicking the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to kick you, weren't it?
Trying to kick me, but I was nowhere near him. He was so pissed. He kicks the corner of the door and just breaks his toe.
Oh.
Oh, we played Red Ass as well. I remember that bit's frightening for
Oh,
David.
Red Ass got like brutal in the terms of like if you did something to piss someone off, you were screwed in goal. Like, I remember a time where Shaun was just literally like bullied in goal.
Yeah.
Like Sam was like, just tee me up, tee me up, tee me up, tee me up, and Shaun just couldn't do anything about it.
Because you were literally right next to me as well. Like, and it was,
Yeah, you couldn't do anything about it. Like you were literally right at the edge, and he was just just plotting them right past you. So like, right, okay, I guess I'm at the front of Red Ass again.
and the funny thing is, I avoided it. I think I've saved one finally, and then I didn't even get red-arsed in the end.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's probably Joe at the end of the day.
Probably it was.
Joe
I
was
remember
always
David and
screwed in.
Sam. David and Sam are
Oh.
terrifying to go in Red Ass against, like, because they can
Oh,
hit a
yeah.
ball, and David caught me on the ass. Oh my god. Because I remember like just thinking, it's like I'm facing the way, and I was like, what is taking them so long? So I turned around, I could just see this ball flying to me. I'm like, oh no. Smack. I hit the deck, and they're like, it's just, I remember having a bruise on my ass the next day. I'm looking at it, it's like my right cheek gone. It was awful. Hate sitting down.
I remember one where it was like, oh, who was it? I think it was Joe who was meant to be getting red-arsed, and I went first because somehow I scored the most out of everyone against him. I don't know how, but I remember hitting it, and I hit it so sweetly. I just see it skim the side of his ass. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I'm hitting that of his so like.
Oh, I
clean.
know. When you hit a clean one, it just misses on you thinking that. Because then if you miss, you have to go in, and then it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
shit. Because
It's
then
like-
there's always that. I was gonna say it's always that sort of constant. If you miss, and then the person who's there is like, "No, you're in the middle. You're in the middle," and it's just that fight to whoever can be on the end.
Yeah.
Because no
Literally.
one wants to be in the middle.
Yeah, it was always like, okay, do I absolutely lace this and try and hit them and
Or do
risk
I just go
missing, or do I go for placement and hit a
Yeah.
bit? I always laced it. I
You've
always
gotta
made
lace it.
sure. I always made sure that I was one of the last people going. Especially, well, I made sure that I was like after David or Sam, because I was like, if I miss this, I'm saving myself the least amount of pain here.
Yeah.
Always painful times.
Mhm.
And then well, I suppose then this year at the park we did that thing where we spun a bottle, and then whoever it landed on got to try and boot someone, and everyone ran away.
Yeah.
That was mayhem in itself.
I feel like that would work a lot better in the Power League as well, because we wouldn't have to like, if we go to Harrow one, we'll have to give that another go.
Yeah, because obviously smaller and the ball won't go flying to the other half of the park. Because that was so annoying trying to chase that, and you had to walk up that big hill as well.
Oh,
We always ran up it on the way back.
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah,
why.
I don't know why we did that.
Which always killed us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been playing football for what, like 2 hours, and then we go.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Let's run up the hill. We've got our boots, our hoodie, and stuff in our bag. Let's run up there now.
This is a steep hill.
It
as well.
was.
Yeah.
It's literally vertical.
Yeah, it is steep. He's just like, yeah,
Lucky.
we'll just leg it.
We never thought about
get
going
to the-
for a checkpoint at the Green Man though, because that's at the
I
top.
know. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
We never stopped for a drink at the
I
end.
don't even know if we were allowed. Oh, to be fair, yeah, we would have been allowed, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it was one
Yeah.
household at the time, wasn't it, when we started? Because it was
Yeah.
August when we started
Yeah.
doing that.
Oh, I missed the pubs.
Oh, same. I can't wait for them to reopen.
Oh, no.
I say
Wow.
Green Man as soon if it's sunny, Green Man beer garden
100%.
straight away
I'll
as
be
soon as
there.
pubs reopen.
Yeah,
We'll,
I'm
go
down.
for, we'll just go for there for a whole day. 24 hours at the Green
Oh, I'd love that.
24-hour challenge.
Man.
2 drinks Ethan makes an appearance again.
Oh,
Oh.
2 drinks Ethan at the Green Man. Just
For a-
dancing on the grass.
Yeah. He gets Shaun's on the table. Drake somehow again attracts a dance battle from some 60-year-old bloke drinking Stella from across.
Wearing the wife beater, just keep on
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Turns out he's after an actual fight, and Shaun's there like going all break dance on him. He's all
He's just swinging. I'm just like dancing.
yeah. Shaun's going Neo on him, Matrix, just whoop, drops the shoulder, right hook.
oh God.
Oh,
Suppose going off a little bit of football, moving on to the little next bit is obviously you're from Brighton, Shaun,
Yeah.
and you're a Man United fan. And we're going to just add to the information as to that. You have a Brighton football kit.
Yes.
You have played for Brighton.
Yes.
Why don't you support Brighton?
Well, I support Manchester United through, well, growing up, really. It's more family. My granddad supported them, my mum supported them, and always watched them. And then, so naturally, growing up, I just supported them through just, I don't know, that's the main team that I saw. So it's the main team that I started supporting.
Would you say you support Brighton as well, though?
I would say that I want them to do well. I don't say I support them as much as I support United. No, I just say
That's a politician answer.
see, thing is, I'm pretty sure I remember United versus Brighton, and Shaun walks in wearing his Brighton top.
that was because I literally went to the gym, and that was the top I wore to the gym.
Yeah, sure, mate. Sure, mate.
It's literally the only time I wear that top is if I'm going to the gym or playing football. But yeah, I am pushing definitely more towards United, definitely. But I have also got my roots in Brighton because I
Grassroots.
studied and played football, and also I have been to games. I've been to Brighton games because I got given tickets and stuff like that when I was at college there. So I naturally want them to do well because they're a team where I'm from. Like Brandon, you want Coventry to do well.
Yeah, but it's different. If they come up to the Prem, United all the way.
Yeah,
I
but
couldn't give a
that's the
shit.
thing. But the thing is, I'm not saying that I want Brighton to, I don't know, win the Premier League or some shit. I'm just saying I don't want them to get relegated because it's a team that's from my hometown. Naturally, like I wouldn't want them to do badly.
I say, I see where he's coming from, but if ever, okay, so I'd say my local team that is decent is Shrewsbury. There's no chance in hell that I'm saying that Ludlow will ever get to the Premier League. But Shrewsbury, if Shrewsbury was somehow making it to the Premier League, I want them to win the league because they've never been there. Like literally, they're what League One, League Two team. That's the lowest they've ever. Yeah, that's they never get any higher than the Championship or let alone the Prem. So if ever they manage to get there, and they're like, okay, if Shrewsbury won, I would not complain. I'd love to see them win the Prem.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like with Brighton, like for me, it's more of the fact that Brighton as a club nearly weren't a club. Like they went from basically being under administration, they were literally like 1 point away from basically not being a club anymore, and now they're in the Premier League. So I feel it's like I respect the fact that they're where they are and they're from where I'm from. So I'm gonna naturally want them to do well because I don't want them to get relegated because it's my hometown.
If they get relegated, this whole thing goes away.
True, but if they get relegated, then they lose a lot of money, and then
Yeah, it's only Brighton.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind them getting relegated.
Yeah, I don't mind what Brighton.
Especially ever since Morpay did the against us and lost, prick.
I bet you love that, didn't you, Shaun? You Brighton player doing that against Man United.
I'm a Man United fan through and through. I just want Brighton to do well because if they go out, a lot of money they do and a lot of money they bring in, actually they put into charities in the local area. They do a lot of stuff for the local area. Plus, I coach with them, so it's a lot of stuff they do in the community as well would take an effect of if they got relegated.
Fair enough.
He's
That's
got
a
his
good argument at the
reasons.
end.
He's got his reasons.
He has got his reasons.
They're
but,
not all sound, but we'll let you off this one time.
Yeah, you haven't got Joe or Sam arguing against.
Yeah.
You, so
No, Joe's that kind of person who just speaks over you. You don't need a point. He just speaks over
Yeah.
you. You don't even if you have a good point, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He'll just tell you to fuck off, and that's it.
Pretty much.
works, doesn't it? Works for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rent free, rattled. He'll love you, Shaun. Ugh.
At the end of it, he just makes me like, I'm just like, all right, whatever.
You give up on the argument, so like it's not worth it.
It's not worth the effort because I know I'm not going to get anywhere.
But Joe does have some arguing points that you can't support both teams. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and I don't support both teams. I just want.
I feel like
No, you
in
just
somewhere
support
in my
Brighton.
memory, I just feel like somewhere in my memory, you've admitted to saying you support Brighton before.
I said I want them to do well. I said I want them to win games. Yes,
Boris Johnson, stop twisting the question.
I don't support them in the way that I support Man United. Man United is my team. Man United is what I grew up watching. That is the team that I support through thick and thin. Whether we're shit or whether we're good, I always watch United.
Okay.
But I want Brighton to do well just because it's where I'm from.
Okay. We'll leave that there.
Yeah, we'll leave that one there. I feel like that's one where we can just keep going.
Yeah.
We'll never finish the podcast if we just keep going with this one.
I will keep defending. I will keep going.
I suppose then, as you sort of briefly mentioned a little bit about, obviously, Brighton does a lot for charity. You have got plans to raise money for charity yourself?
Good segue. Yeah,
I was just thinking that. I was like, that's a really good segue, actually. I was like, how has he come up with that one?
Yeah, so I've started basically doing preparation. I'm starting training to do 10-kilometer run, basically for the charity Mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I signed up for it a few days ago. I'm starting a GoFundMe over today or tomorrow, and basically I just want to raise money for Mind because it's quite close to me because of like mental health, and I know mental health is a big issue right now. And for me personally as well, I've had my own mental health issue problems. So like it's something that's very close and very important to me. And if I can help raise some money for a charity that helps people that have got like depression or anxiety, other mental health disorders like I've had, then it's a positive impact. And plus, also, I want to do it as well as like a goal to set, so I push myself as well.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's good that you sort of what you're doing is good anyway. It's great that you're raising money for charity. But I think as well, although we've got a limited audience, the fact that you've come on here and are happy to sort of openly speak about it too, saying you've had mental health issues, like speaking about it always helps. Like you've at the end of the day, as much as even if you're really struggling and you don't want to tell people everything, even just telling someone a little bit, just so they know, it helps so much. And obviously, like you say,
everyone's got their own issues. Everyone's got stuff, especially now. Especially now, there's been a massive increase in like mental health, and there's been a massive increase in people needed to help that because it's an issue. It's unfortunately embedded in society because a lot of people are stuck doing stuff out of their routine, aren't working, so they're struggling. And for me myself, like COVID had lost me 2 jobs. I've not been coaching, not being able to go to the gym, being stuck in all the time, being the kind of person I am who's I like to be talking to people. I like to be active. I like to be in the presence of people, and especially with uni and stuff like that, I'm not so much of a visual learner. I'm more of an active learner. I'd like to learn in person. Like, so having that stripped away from me and having that stripped away from most people is gonna cause mental health problems. So it's a big issue right now.
Yeah, it is, and I think, like I say, what you're doing is really good, and it's obviously it's going to push you. And I think as well, like running in general, it's a form of exercise which I think clears your mind quite a lot. Like for me, it helps clear my mind a lot, and so it'll hopefully, like you say, challenge you, and it'll hopefully help you as well with your mental health a bit.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing that I've missed is going to the gym and exercising, because that was like my release. Like
Yeah,
that was the one thing that I had that was like my kind of like made me feel better as well. Like,
yeah,
because if I was in a mood where I didn't feel good, or I felt down, or I didn't have motivation, if I went to the gym, and even if I did, I don't know, an hour's workout, even if it's not the best workout I've ever done, I've at least done something, and it at least helps reduce that feeling of like, kind of like, it's hard to explain, but it kind of reduces that feeling that you haven't done anything. Like you have completed a task, or you've completed something, so that helps give a boost of morale. It gives a boost of feeling like you've accomplished something in your day, which helps reduce like your levels of depression, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from, because I feel like I'm sort of stuck in a bit of a slump myself, in terms of how I've tried to work out, and I just can't stick to it at the moment. I'm just like,
Mm.
so I'm just a bit, it's, yeah, I need to definitely need to start sticking to like a schedule or stuff. 'Cause it's like you say, it's like a sense of accomplishment and achievement, even if it's like something like for as an hour. And I've just, yeah, it's kind of just been, it's awful thinking that I'm not doing anything all day. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, so definitely you two are gonna have to try and help me out when we get back to when the gym's open. Get me out of
Yeah.
my
Well,
room, please.
I mean, like I've not I've let myself go a bit since, well, I have let myself go a bit since COVID's been introduced, because I haven't really had the motivation to do something like that. That's kind of another reason why I chose to do this, because I was like, if I have a goal, if I have a date, if I have a focus of what I want to do and what I want to accomplish, then I have something to work towards. Which before I used to have that, I wanted to get myself down to a certain weight, and I did that. But then I did that accomplishment, and I didn't have anything to target next.
Mm.
And I feel like that it was where my downfall was, because I didn't have that target, that next target. I lost motivation to go and work out. Obviously, not having the gyms and stuff like that. I didn't really, personally, I don't enjoy running outside as much, because it's just something that I feel self-conscious about. I can be self-conscious. I'm not really like someone who likes to go out in public and go running, but I am trying to overcome that, because I need to, because I've noticed that I have gained weight. I have not stuck to what I was doing, and I feel like that was a lack of motivation as well. And I feel like because of that, I've not been eating properly. I've been eating more unhealthily. I haven't really been happy. So that was like my thing. Like, oh, I get to treat myself. I'll have a takeaway or something like that, because that made me somewhat feel better. But I
yeah.
didn't. It's just that thought of it was making me feel better.
Mm.
I think like you've both mentioned, like motivation, like especially uh, during this time, especially during lockdowns, like motivation for everyone's been like so low.
It's
Like
really
it's
hard.
so hard to get motivation right now. Like
It's I
Yeah.
it's
feel like I'd be so much more motivated if I had someone like you two with me to keep me
mm,
motivated. And if I was actually
Yeah.
going to like a gym where I had to go out to do it instead, I kind of just do like try and do something in my room. And like again, there's all
yeah,
these distractions in my room that I can just like, oh, I don't need to do it today. And then the next day it's like, oh, I can't bother today. I need like
Yeah.
someone that will get me out and motivate me. So I need you boys
Yeah.
to just really help me out in that sense and get me on my route. If I don't, tell you what, if I don't have a valid reason why I can't go to the gym with you, you can slap me or something.
That's another thing to add to the list.
Hey, we don't talk about that other thing.
It
It doesn't happen anymore. I'm reformed.
He's reformed.
Called the eye from your dad.
Oh, I think. So when do you plan on doing this 10K run then, Sean?
So the date is September 13th, I'm pretty sure, or September 12th.
Oh, so you've got a lot of time to sort of build up and get to
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
need to be, which is good because it's a
Yeah.
lot of. I suppose during this whole time to get to there, that's a lot of time which will be taken up where you've got like this goal, like you're saying, like you've got something to focus on for a long time now.
Mm.
And so that's good because like, and I think I back with what you're saying about if you don't have a goal or a focus with anything, like you so easily fall out of a routine. And if you don't have that routine, then everything sort of just slips away. And I think it applies with everything, and especially with uni at the moment. Like it's hard to even just be motivated, just to like, especially with the dissertations we're doing. Like if you miss a workout one day or something, or because like for me and you, like normally we'd wake up about 9ish to go to the gym in the morning, and then you've gone to the gym, you're awake, your blood's pumping, have some lunch, get down with some work. But now it's like you sleep until midday, no energy. So it's like I just don't want to do work, and so it's gyms and just trying to do something, anything, like even like you're doing now, going for runs, just helps so much.
Yeah, well, mine's kind of been like, I kind of fallen behind a little bit because of issues with the uni, which has not helped my motivation. Because like I got very, very annoyed, and I was just like, I've done what I was required of, and I didn't hear back or get anything back until like a late date that I should have been already done with, and I should have already been at this stage. But because I haven't had that because of the uni, and because I haven't received anything, I'm expecting now to catch up, and I just didn't. I was like, I'm not in a motivated mood now because I had it done ages ago.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's so shitty right now, and we just got to hope. I think as well, especially being back at, obviously it's just you and Sam at the flat, so it's probably quite quiet most days. And like you're saying, like there's probably days where you don't even see each other or speak to each other.
Yeah, do really see every now and again where I don't really feel like coming out of my room, or when I do, Sam isn't out, so we don't really always talk.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like hopefully, like with me and Ethan coming back soon, there'll be more people in the flat. It's just going to help because just bump it, just hanging out in the kitchen or eating in the kitchen, whatever. It just sort of picks you up a bit, and then you might think, oh, okay, feeling a bit more motivated, a bit better myself. I can maybe just do a bit more work or whatever. But yeah, it's not great. And coming just obviously this whole run for charity. Do you have a goal in mind that you want to, or how much you want to raise?
Well, I set it at 80 as the minimum because that's like, I feel like I want to raise at least 80, but I would like to raise more. Like I wanted
Yeah,
to
obviously.
raise like 150. That was like the that was like my goal. If I raise more than that, amazing.
If your goal is 150, I think you've just got to back yourself and put 150. Like if you don't reach it, then it's no problem. Like if you only get £100, if you only get £80, you've still raised that money, and it's still going to do wonders for the organisation. Like you shouldn't feel like down in yourself if you don't fully hit your goal. But
Yeah.
And
Well, I set a realistic goal, but I would like to raise more.
yeah, that's good. Well, we will definitely, once it's live, the your GoFundMe page, we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To try and help.
I need today.
Okay. You can just send me that over after we've finished recording, and it'll be in there for you, mate. Is there anything else you'd like to say on the matter? To be fair, Sean, before we go on to the next area.
Just if anyone's got any mental health problems or anyone's got any mental health issues and stuff like that, talk about it, because I've learned the hard way that I used to hold everything in and it doesn't help. You think it does, and sometimes you feel like that's the better option. But honestly, getting it off your chest makes you feel a lot better. But make sure it's to people that you can trust, and make sure that it's either to a professional or someone that is close to you that you know that you can speak to, because you want to tell people about your problems or about your issues, and then those get leaked because that makes you feel worse. So make sure that you have someone you can trust. And if not, there are always professionals, there are always helplines, there are always other things, other avenues you can go down. Because you're not alone at the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll add the helpline calls and the
Yeah.
websites in the description as well for anyone who needs just to speak to anyone. Like we say, it's always good to speak out, and like Shaun, I think all of us have had some form of struggle in any way. Even if it's just like you're saying, having no motivation, it still hits you in some way. So just anything to do to help.
Yeah, you never have to feel like you have to do anything on your own.
Yeah.
Even if
Exactly.
it's like something as simple as motivation. Get your friends to help you out. Like I'm gonna need you two to help me out, like I've said, yeah.
Yeah.
But never have to do anything on your own. The worst thing you can do is keep it bottled up. I know it feels like you're burdening people, like by talking to them, but that's not the case. They'll 9 times out of 10 they'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, and if it's that one, they're probably not a real friend.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good to speak about that, and sort of, and thank you, Shaun, for sort of, I suppose, giving your personal or your, what's the word I'm looking for? First-hand experience in it, and like I say, we'll do as much as we can to help raise awareness for what you're doing for your 10K running. It's really good that you're doing it and helping out, especially in these difficult times. But now we could move on to our Sunday rankings. Our favorite, it's probably my favorite bit of the podcast, really.
Yeah, it's my favorite bit as well.
It gets a bit heated, and this week we're all Marvel fans, so we've given Shaun 10 Marvel films, and the way it's worked, because obviously there's a lot more than 10 Marvel films, is we've bunched the trilogies and the ones with 2 films together. Like where we put Iron Man, it's ranking off all 3 films, and same for like Captain America and that, and Guardians of the Galaxy, which has got 2, so it's a combined one. It's not just the individual films.
Yeah.
So I suppose let's get in it. So what have you got in last place, people?
Mine is Captain Marvel.
Me too. Mine is
Me
also
too.
Captain Marvel.
Wow, that's the first time we've all agreed on something.
Yeah, innit? Yeah, I feel like I feel like it is the weakest out of all the ones that we've been given, especially as a solo film. I feel like there are definitely weaker entries in, like, so say for example, Thor 1 and 2. Well, Thor 2 especially, I thought was a worse film than Captain Marvel, but I think as a trilogy, it's better.
Yeah.
So we need to wait for Captain Marvel 2 to give it, and then we'll do an updated version.
Personally, with Captain Marvel, it was very drawn out. It was very much filler, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think it was the greatest introduction to her character, because you don't really see her powers that often, and when you do, it's only small glimpses until like the final scene. So like I felt like her whole, I don't know, the idea of the film was primarily used just to give meaning to the ending of the Infinity War.
Yeah,
it was.
War? Yeah, it's literally Infinity War end credit scene happened. Okay, now we need now we need a film for this character, because for the people who didn't know what that logo meant, they'd be like, "What?" So they needed it, but I feel like they could have introduced her maybe. Then again, I feel like they had to introduce her there as well, because people would have wondered sort of like, well, where was she for the other Avengers films? Throughout the other thing. Yeah, I just think the story was a bit. Yeah, it wasn't the most intriguing.
Yeah, I back Shaun. I think it was just a filler, weren't it? It was like, all right, you've just had this cliffhanger with Infinity War. We'll give you that for a little bit, and then
it was basically like, we'll give you this in the meantime while you're waiting for the big film.
Yeah. How about that? All right. What about in the next 9th
second. Ninth. Give
Mine
me
is
2 seconds.
Ant-Man.
Mine is also Ant-Man.
Or mine's Thor.
4.
Yeah, and I'll tell you for why. Because I absolutely love the third film. Third film is one of my favorite Marvel films. It's the first two. They're painful to watch at times. Like Max said, especially the second one. Like, it just drags it down so much
It
for
does.
me.
Yeah.
I just had to add in Thor to my list real quick because I completely forgot to put it in. When you said Thor, I was looking, I was like, wait, I don't have Thor. I was like, there, that's where it's going.
1 second, sorry, I need to make a change. I need to just double check my list.
So why have you got Ant-Man ninth, guys?
So Ant-Man is there just because those films were just there again. Like, they're not filler exactly. They introduced the character. Yeah, the first one was good. The second one, the only important bit about the second one was the end credit scene. That's the only important bit about it.
Yeah, literally. The second one was filler, in my opinion.
Yeah, never filler.
Yeah. I liked the Ant-Man and the Wasp dynamic. I liked how that worked. But yeah, it was just again, it was basically the first one.
Yeah, the first one was good. Second one was It was lackluster in my opinion. It was just kind of like they made this film to introduce Wasp as well, I feel like, and they kind of obviously needed it to show the end credit, as Max said, to show how he was still alive and stuff.
Spoilers as well, if you somehow haven't seen these films.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the films, then what have you been doing?
Right, what did you have, Brandon, again? Oh, Thor, yeah, of course.
Thor.
Yeah, Thor.
Thor.
Yeah.
I understand it.
The third film, like I'm saying, it's really good, and it's like a film I could just watch loads, but it's just 1 and 2 just drag it down so much.
Yeah. Right. So
your next one.
I think this is where my controversial opinion comes in, but I want to hear what you two have put first.
All right, Shaun, what have you got?
I have got 4.
Okay, I've got Ant-Man.
Okay, I have Black Panther.
To be fair, like,
are you serious?
Yes.
I think the problem is, and it's a good film, Black Panther. I really like it, but when I was comparing it to the other films that are higher for me, they've all got, apart from one other one, they've all got other like 3 or 2 films. So it was like,
Black Panther just come out.
My problem with Black Panther, so I think it's a good film. It's a very important film, but I feel like it's a bit overrated. Like, when I feel like that's why I'm a bit harsh on it, is because when it was up for Best Picture at the Oscars, I was sort of like, no way does that film deserve to be in the Best Picture at the Oscars. I'm like, it's just not. I mean, despite the CGI looking a bit rough in areas, which I'm not blaming, was just down to like a time thing. They didn't have enough time to finish it off, but it was just, I preferred Black Panther in Civil War. I liked that version of the character more. And yeah, I think it was just a bit overrated by a lot of people when people are saying like, oh, it's the best one. So like, I didn't agree with it, which is why I'm probably a little bit harsher. Maybe if I watch it again, my opinion might change on it. But yeah, that's why it's a little lower than other people for me.
Fair enough. Well, I went with 4 for kind of the same reason, but I just put it above Ant-Man because there's 3 films and the third is the best out of the 3, massively. Like, if the third one was on its own, it would be higher in this list.
Yeah.
The other 2, mainly the second one was really disappointing. Like, the second one was just kind of like, yeah, Infinity Stone, 1 Infinity Stones. Oh, the bad guy gets it, then you stop him. Like, it was just kind of me.
I feel like with the first 2 Thor films, well, to be fair, it's the same for the first 2 phases really of the MCU. It's like that was when it was very much following the Marvel formula, where every film was pretty much the same, just reskinned. Like, oh, you have an irrelevant bad guy. Oh, the hero's a bit. Oh, I'm not cut out for this. Oh, I've beat him. It's kind of the same. It's like the same with for Iron Man. It's like Iron Man first one, even though the first Iron Man is brilliant, and I think it does it. I think the difference between what makes a Marvel film good compared to the others is how well it does that formula. If you know what I mean. I think Thor 2 just literally went went for the formula straight on, and also I heard it had trouble with productions as well. It's one of the most troubled productions out of the whole thing. So I think it was just a mess from the beginning.
Yeah, well, I had obviously I got Ant-Man, and I think the only reason it was a bit higher for me than Thor was just I just think it's a cool concept, and I quite like, especially the villain in the second film.
She was cool.
Yeah.
I read
I
that.
think that was a really cool villain.
What the one that phases in and out of.
Yeah. And I
think
suppose
was
that
really
goes
cool.
back to the formula again. Like that one, I feel like with that, it wasn't the standard Marvel ending where the bad guy is a bad guy and they've got to defeat him. She was just trying to survive,
Yeah,
and which is what I liked about that. But then you go back to the first Ant-Man. Oh, I've got to defeat a bad guy.
yeah,
But then I suppose that's every superhero. You've got to defeat a bad guy, but there could definitely be more interesting ways of doing it instead of just like, oh, bad guy, must defeat him.
yeah.
I did really like the fight scene in Ant-Man 1 though, when he's on the train track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's why I think the first Ant-Man was better as well, because it had more interesting fight scenes. It used the size a bit more.
Yeah. When he's running through the pretend city and he's getting shot at.
Yeah, exactly. And they're in a briefcase fighting with music going off in the background. Like that's a cool, fun concept.
Yeah, that was. I feel like the first one was a lot better than the second one, in my opinion.
I think the second one had a cooler villain. But yeah, no, as a film, I think the first one was better. Okay, so 7th place. What have we got?
Well, I've got Black Panther, so it's quite similar to you lot.
Okay.
Max,
Mine is
Shaun.
Thor.
So yeah.
And it's the same for the same reasons you guys. The first two just weren't as good.
Mine's Spider-Man.
Oh, I knew he'd say that. I knew he was going to say that.
That is controversial.
That is controversial.
Oh, I didn't like that one. I didn't like it.
Shaun, why?
Yeah, elaborate, please.
Okay, so where do I start?
Oh no! What do you mean?
There shouldn't be a start. It should be. I've made a mistake here. I'm sorry.
No, I feel like the MCU haven't really done Spider-Man justice. I feel like he has been, well, it's obviously Spider-Man's had a long history of going from one actor to another actor to another actor, different storylines, different perspectives, different bad guys. And in this one, the first one was not great in my opinion. I just think that they went for him being too young now, and it went from him being like from the originals, because personally I prefer the originals, to the new Spider-Man films.
But you gotta remember, he is a kid. Peter Parker is a high schooler. That is him in the comics.
Yeah, but then I preferred the actor and the person who played Spider-Man in the originals.
What,
than
Tobey
the
Maguire?
one.
I thought he looked too old for the part. I mean, if you look at
Andrew Garfield was too old for the part.
I love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He's been he's an incredible actor. He just got shafted by poor story.
Leave. Well, he wanted to leave anyway because he wanted to go into other movies. Which, I mean, he did Hacksaw Ridge, which he banged that.
I think he's been the best actor that's played a Spider-Man so far.
I don't mind Tom Holland. Like, I don't mind him, but out of the three, he's third.
Oh.
See, I think as personal for me, Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield has been my favorite Spider-Man, but I think Tom Holland plays Spider-Man the best.
I feel like Tom Holland plays when he's like actual Spider-Man, he plays him better. But I think from a personality and like from a personal perspective, I preferred the other two
All right.
from like
so,
just out of the suit, basically. Like obviously, there's two sides of it. Obviously, being like just his personality, how he is. I don't know if it's the story writing, but just for me, I prefer the old ones over the new ones.
well, obviously you've got the originals, and then you've got the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and then the MCU Spider-Man. How would you rank those? Those three separate.
If I was gonna say like which ones were better,
Yeah. So, what would be your favorite out of the three set of films?
my favorite set of films was the originals, but my favorite Spider-Man film is Spider-Man 3, which is the one with Venom.
So yeah. So you'd say the films which have Tobey Maguire Spider-Man are your favorite,
Yeah.
and then what would be next? The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield or the MCU Spider-Man with Tom Holland? Films, not the Spider-Man, the films.
I would say I like the new ones just because of the way they link with the story.
Okay.
But the storyline for Amazing Spider-Man, the first one was good, but the second one was a bit meh. So I'd say overall, the new ones are better than the storylines in Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay. That is controversial, Shaun.
That is
But yeah,
Spider-Man
but
that low.
from my perspective, I don't know if it's just because I grew up watching the originals. I even preferred the villains. Like I preferred Venom. Like I've been waiting for a good Spider-Man with Venom for years now. Like
Yeah,
I liked Venom. I did really like Venom. The actual film, the one
Tom
with
Hardy.
yeah, I liked
that's a good
that.
film.
That was a good film.
I think that's a not necessarily a problem, but so many people who, if you say like Spider-Man, the first two villains people are going to think of are probably Green Goblin or Venom.
Mm.
And I think because the MCU hasn't gone into that yet, then it's like, is
Yeah.
it? So I don't know, because they've used two different villains, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I can't. It's not even in the top 5, Shaun.
No.
See,
Ah.
I think what they're trying to do was because people complained about the second one that it's another origin story for Spider-Man. We've had an origin story for Spider-Man. We don't need it again. And so there's like, okay, we'll avoid the origin story. He's been Spider-Man for 6 months when we see him in Civil War. There we go. That's that one sorted. We don't have to worry about an origin story. People know Spider-Man's origin story. Then people also complained about, and get Spider-Man 3, people complained that there was too many villains in it. Now some people like yourself, you like the fact there was more villains in, but a lot of people have said we didn't like it. And Spider-Man 2 sort of had the same problem. We had Electro and Harry Osborn's Green Goblin, and people didn't like it. So I see why they're playing it a bit safer with this one, because it's got a link to others, like the whole story. So they need people to like these films. So they're like, okay, we'll do one villain. We'll do one villain at a time. We'll play it safe. And I think in this third one, hopefully, this is where we get our Spider-Man multiverse film, where we have Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Electro, Doc Ock, all coming back for a massive Spider-Man film. Hopefully.
Well, I would hope they do that because I don't not like the new ones. It's not that I don't like them. Like I do like them, but it's just I feel like the storyline itself, like the whole thing about her dad turning out to be the guy who was the villain and stuff. And
Genius writing.
That is one of the best bits about that film. 100%.
Genius writing.
The music, everything is incredible about that film, where it's all upbeat. Yeah, Peter's got a date with this girl that he wants it to, and
he
then
does
boom,
stuff as well at uni. So
bang, like bang, gone.
But
the mood changes
but the thing is that,
drastically.
it was easy to predict though. Like you knew that
No,
that
it
would
wasn't.
be
I
revealed to
disagree.
you.
oh,
I knew
I
that it was.
disagree.
In my opinion, it's so obvious. Oh, he's not the girl, and then all of a sudden, oh, her dad's the bad guy. Oh, shock.
But even if you kind of knew, you weren't expecting it to be revealed in that way. Like when it is literally Peter's at his highest point in the film, and then bang, door opens, the villain, and Spider-Man's got to talk to him, knowing that he's the villain, and the villain has no idea that he's Tom Spider-Man. And it's not until they're in the car where the villain starts piecing it together. And I think that is one of the best bits about the film.
I just think
personally.
that it's very to me it's cliche because I feel like a lot of the time it always turns out the girl's parent or something is the bad guy, and then all of a sudden no, now I've got to fight the parent of, or like my best friend's parent is the evil person or something. Like I feel like it's quite cliche in that manner. Like I feel like a lot. To be fair, a lot of the time it is quite cliche in the fact that I've got this girl, and now all of a sudden no, her best friend or her family member or something like that is the villain, and now I've got to fight their family member or something. I feel like that is very cliche.
See, I don't
in
have
my
a problem
opinion.
with cliches if they're done well.
Mm.
If it's a cliche that's done
I
well,
mean,
and I feel like it was done, I think it was done well in Homecoming, personally.
I mean, I might have to rewatch it, but personally, I just prefer the originals.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think we should move on because, again, I feel like this is a topic that we could talk about for another 3 hours.
Do you know what? I love how this has been one of our most controversial topics. Like, even with alcohol and things like that, it's not got this it's not been heated, but there's been a good debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us don't like the films. I think that it's just piecing together the parts that we don't.
Yeah. It's just
that.
it's just a case of where we rank, how much we prefer the other films over these ones, like
Yeah.
certain films. Yeah, no, this has been a good one so far. I feel like it's been a good one. All right then, what do we have in 6th? Is it now?
Yeah, 6. I'm on 6. I've got Doctor Strange.
I also have Doctor Strange.
I have. Wait, let me double check.
But I'm thinking about I'll back it. I'll back Doctor Strange there.
I think, considering it's a standalone film at the moment, it's good, and it's
if Doctor Strange 2 is brilliant, then that Doctor Strange shoots up my list into the top 3 straight away. Because I love the first one. I think it was such a brilliant. It was really good. And if the second one is just as good, then Doctor Strange goes up my list quite a lot.
100%.
Believe it or not, I think we all have the same one for this one.
Oh, that's twice.
Doctor Strange
now.
as well. That's twice. So we can agree.
I put Doctor Strange for this one too.
See, I feel like for a lot of it, it's just a case of they're just individual films.
Yeah, I feel like if he does have as you say, if he does have a good second film, then I feel like he will fly up the. Plus, apparently, there's meant to be a cameo from Spider-Man in Doctor Strange 2 as well.
Yeah, there's all these rumors going around for Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and who's going to be in it, and it's quite exciting, to be fair. See what happens.
I saw there was a thing. Apparently, Doctor Strange is meant to take up the role model role that Tony Stark had. Apparently.
Yeah, I feel like he'll be, because I feel like he will become the next leader, or Reed Richards, Fantastic Four, when he gets introduced eventually. One of those two. I feel like there could be a similar dynamic between those. Actually, no. I feel like those two will respect each other. Reed Richards and Doctor Strange.
They need to do a good Fantastic Four.
We've not had a good Fantastic Four film, like an actual good Fantastic Four film. The first two, they were okay. They were of its time. They were okay.
Silver Surfer was the better one.
And then the rebooted one. Oh my god! Wish I'd never seen it.
I've never seen it.
Don't watch it. Don't do it to yourself.
It's honestly trash.
It's actually a bad film.
It is genuinely. I didn't want to watch it again after I watched it.
It's not objectively bad. It is actually just bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
I genuinely wanted to turn it off halfway through, but I wanted to see if they actually did something with it, if they actually made it somewhat better, but they didn't.
I'm gonna watch it tonight just to
go on then.
See how bad it is.
All right, what have we got next?
Top 5 now. Top 5.
Top 5.
Spider-Man should be Shaun. Just put that out there, but we'll move.
I already have my one for this one.
Mine's Iron Man.
Iron Man. Oh, that's controversial. Black Panther.
Captain America.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like that's triggered something in my. I feel
okay. A little bit. I've put Iron Man in 5th. Okay, so the first one is one of the best films. It is
I
one of
love
the
you,
best
Panther.
films in the MCU.
Yeah,
The
I'm backing
second
that
one
up.
was a bit lackluster. It was basically the first one, just reskinned. The
Mhm.
third one was entertaining, but kind of a
Mm.
bit frustrating at times. But it was an entertaining film. And for me,
Mm.
I feel like the first one is just let down by the other two.
Okay.
I would disagree with that, to be honest.
All right. Well, you haven't said Iron Man yet, have you, Sean?
No, I haven't yet.
So
No.
we'll wait until you say that, and then you
Yeah,
can give your
okay.
point. So,
Okay.
what did you have again, Sean?
Yeah, Black
Black
Panther,
Panther.
wasn't it?
I've got Black Panther, yeah.
Why is it up there for you?
Well, for me, I feel like I just really like the film personally. Like, it's just one of my. It's not one of my all-time favorites, but it's up there. Well,
Yeah.
as it's like it's to me, it was a very good film. To me, it was enjoyable to watch. I liked the action scenes. I liked the whole idea of like they were obviously technically advanced, but obviously they were still into their roots, obviously like their tribal and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I liked the way they did the film, and I liked the storyline because the storyline was like the guy basically was shunned by his homeland, and he came back to basically say like I am worthy, and you have no right to say that I'm not. And obviously, where he was obviously not, he didn't know the customs and stuff like that, as well as the others and stuff like that. But he was naturally allowed to be ruler technically. But I feel like he was corrupted in the process of that because he was seen to hate his homeland. But in the end, I think the ending sealed it off perfectly. I think because the ending was just like they were on the peak. He was seeing over his homeland. He was kind of like almost put to rest, kind of thing. Like he didn't have to fight anymore, kind of. I feel like the story itself, the whole storyline, kind of was just like a culminated in that one point, and I feel like that was a very good ending to the story.
You know, I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, I can back
All
that.
those things I agree with. Yeah, I just think for me that seeing it at the Oscars was I don't think it deserved to be there. I think there were a lot better films like compared to the other films. I suppose because the Oscars you're judging it as a film, as an actual
Yeah.
film, not just like a bit of entertainment. It's like I know for me, yeah, I think it just fell short. So I feel like seeing it at the Oscars was a bit like why is that there? I don't think I've not seen a Marvel film that deserves to be up for Best Picture yet, personally. But I do. Black Panther was still really
Yeah.
entertaining. What was it like the casino sort of scene was brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Love that scene so much. I love the whole like I love the technology, all that sort of thing. I think that's so cool. Again, I like the idea of them keeping it for themselves and then having the idea of like it should be shared with the world. I thought that was a really good one. But yeah, maybe I just need to watch it again and my opinion might change on it.
Plus, I just love this suit. His suit is sick. He's probably
Yeah.
one of my like that suit is probably one of like my favorite like suits. Like, he's probably one of my favorite like in terms of like I prefer his suit to Iron Man's because like his suit like the concept of the fact that like when he takes damage and the fact that like when he takes damage he can deal it back like tenfold and stuff like that. And it's pretty much overpowered in most situations because you hit him, he's not getting hurt, he's just building up more power. Like,
Yeah.
I think
back that.
another problem for Black Panther for me again was just the whole third act was just a big CGI fight,
oh
which
yeah,
like I mean not even just the like the big final bit when it was like Killmonger and Black Panther and having their little 1v1 in the caves. The bit before that, like in the trailer, there's a beautiful shot of Black Panther walking up, the sunset behind him, and then in the actual film, it's just not there. It's completely replaced by CGI. His suit is all CG. And they're like, it didn't need to be done. He had a really nice practical suit. Maybe touch it up with some VFX, but it didn't have to be fully replaced, in my opinion.
Well, obviously I had Captain America.
controversial.
It's still top five,
That's controversial for me.
The thing is, my top five, them mainly turned on because I love all of the top five films. Like they could quite easily rotate. So it sort of more came down to
Yeah.
sort of maybe the preferred superhero in terms of that. Like,
Yeah.
I could easily watch any of these top 5 films on repeat, but Captain America, it was sort of, when I think about watching it, like I'd previously, although obviously it was the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, I'd already seen Spider-Man, I'd already watched Iron Man, and they are good films, but I don't know, for some reason it just doesn't stick out to me like the others do.
Yeah,
And there's no way. Go on,
I get
Shaun.
what you mean. I get what you mean. Like, I get what like where you're coming from. Like, they were good films, but you can't always say they were like, oh my god, like.
There was a point where I
I
can't remember how.
disagree with that. I disagree with that
Oh,
massively.
I'm
But
saying,
I'll
I'm saying
talk about it when I should tell you where it is in my list. I'll tell you my reasonings for it.
I think the problem is as well for me, like, I haven't seen a lot of these films in a while, and I think back to the films, and I genuinely can't remember much about the second Captain America film. Is it Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier.
I genuinely can't remember that much about it.
To be fair, that the second one is probably one of the better of the three. I liked the second one and the third one more than I prefer than the first one.
Yes, me too. I'll talk
The
about
third
I'll
one's my
talk about
favourite.
Captain America. I'll talk about when it gets to
But
when
yeah,
it
it was
gets
just
to
All right, so what's
in
next?
fourth.
fourth place. Spider-Man for me.
Okay, Shaun.
Brandon.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got Iron Man fourth.
Okay, I've got Captain America.
So me and Shaun, have we just swapped? Oh no, you're Black Panther, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'd go Black Panther there. Yeah.
Mine's
Yeah.
Spider-Man because the first one was good. I didn't like the fact that Iron Man was everywhere. I wasn't overly keen on that.
Mhm.
I
The
completely forgot
second
about
one,
that.
however, I loved the second one. I loved the idea that Peter was very much on his own. He had to solve this stuff by himself, and it's just a different take as well. Like, obviously you knew that Mysterio was going to be the bad guy,
Mm.
but it was just like it was the fact that Peter trusted him as well. There was this you liked Mysterio. You at the beginning of the film, you like him. He's a likable
Yeah.
character. But
Mm.
unlike the first one where you can see I see Vulture's his motivations and stuff for being a bad guy, but he wasn't likable, if you know what I mean. He was very
Yeah.
much the bad guy from the beginning, whereas Far From Home we had a good guy which turns out to be a bad guy, and it was all a lie.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was kind of room for me because obviously playing the games and reading the comics and stuff like that. You already know
Yeah.
that Mysterio is the bad guy. So I guess if you were going into that new and you didn't know who Mysterio was,
Yeah.
then I guess you would have been fooled by that. Obviously, he's a good guy, but obviously if you know the backstory and you know like the comics and stuff like, you know Mysterio isn't a good guy. And the one pet peeve I have about that film
Mhm.
is the ending. Is the
Really?
fact that now it surprised me, but I was like, well then why is his identity just been leaked all over? Like I didn't know, because I thought they were going to try and make this Spider-Man like a longer standing character, but if his identity's been leaked, like what? Like that's never happened before.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
there's-
That's the whole point.
Exactly.
It's
There's
never
no
been
way.
happened before.
So we
Peter
don't know how this is
Parker-
going to go about.
Peter Parker's main thing is his identity. He says it multiple
Yeah.
times throughout the film. Like, listen, I can't have my classmates knowing that I'm Spider-Man. I can't have people knowing that I'm Spider-Man. So then to have it just leak throws a massive spanner in the works for him. It's a different dynamic that we've never seen before in Spider-Man. And I can't wait to see how they fix that problem in the third. I have a feeling they will fix it because if people know who Spider-Man is, I don't think it'll be as good. I feel like
that's
the
what I
character
was
will.
thinking.
So I think in the third film, if we get the multiverse,
Yeah,
either
it could
Andrew
be.
Garfield or Tobey Maguire will be there, like, will come out as Spider-Man, which will take him away from it. Then I think.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that I feel like obviously where I've put Spider-Man, I feel like the third film to me will decide if it should be higher or not, because I feel like that ending as well has put it down for me, because that ending, like, in my eyes, I was like, that's never been in Spider-Man's like thing. He's never had his identity revealed to the world and stuff like that. So that was confusing for me. because I was like, what avenue are they going down with this? Because that's never happened before.
Well, I think what will be interesting as well is Tom Holland's contract's done now with MCU. That was his last. The film they've just recorded or just filmed was his last contract film.
Oh, really?
And so it's the fact of obviously there's no news about him signing. He obviously wants to keep playing Spider-Man, but there's no news about him signing a new contract. So maybe
Miles-
that'll have an impact on how
I
the
think they
ending
will.
be.
I
think they'll give.
I think they will, because Spider-Man is the most, in terms of Marvel, Spider-Man's the biggest,
Yeah.
people's favorite superhero.
He is
He is probably people's most favorite superhero, and to have Spider-Man suddenly come out of that, Marvel and Sony will lose lots of money for it, because
massively.
if Sony pull the plug and be like, okay, we're going to do our own films, they won't be as good. They won't. Well, there's no saying they won't be as good, but they won't make as much money because people like the idea of Spider-Man fighting alongside the Avengers. I love that. I love seeing him in Infinity War and in Endgame and stuff. I love seeing Iron Man next to him, and to see him on his own again would just be a bit weird.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing with that is that when are they going to introduce Miles Morales?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, there's a people, obviously these are all theories, but people are theorizing it'll be in this next one.
Yeah, because honestly, one of the most underrated Spider-Man films is Into the Spider-Verse.
I'm going to say
that
it
is a
is the
great
best Spider-Man film. As a Spider-Man film, it's the best
I really
one.
like that film.
Into Spider-Verse was brilliant film. I think it nailed it. It just goes to show that it can, like, when people complain about having too many characters in other Spider-Man films, it can work.
Oh yeah.
If you've got the right story,
It's
then
just the writing scheme.
yeah, it can work. And I thought Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man film out of all of them. As a through and through Spider-Man film, it was the best.
Yeah, the storyline was very good. The like bits of comic effects as well that they added in and stuff like that on certain parts and stuff like that. But it was the fact that they could tone like the difference of like the positive, like the comics, like the funny part of it, and then obviously like the dark side of it, like finding out like his uncle was the Nightcrawler, and then obviously him dying and stuff like that. Like I feel like they did that so well, but I feel like sometimes they don't always do that very well.
Yeah,
like having that balance of
the balance of tone was I think they nailed it with the balance of the tone of that film. And when he first becomes Spider-Man, like near the end, is probably the best out of any of the Spider-Man films, when he's finally like, right, I'm doing this for real now, sort of thing. Like the impact of the music, was it the "What's Up Danger" song?
Oh yeah,
so
that song. When he flies off the side of the building and the glass shatters and stuff like that, that effect was sick. Like and also I really like the soundtrack to that film as well.
So, yeah, same.
Yeah, it's good.
I feel like Spider-Man,
I
we can
feel
just
like
talk about it for ages. We can
Yeah,
just
it's
talk about
so
it,
easy,
man.
isn't it? It's so easy to talk about. Well, I said I got Iron Man in fourth.
Yeah.
And Iron Man, it's what started the MCU, wasn't it? Really. And like Max said, the first film is really good in my opinion. 2 and 3 not so much, but just the character itself, like Robert Downey Jr. just plays he's just brilliant as Iron Man.
I love him as Iron Man.
He is Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. Like they picked him so well for that role.
Because the original cast was Tom Cruise, I think. I think that's
I heard
who
that.
Marvel wanted
I'm
him,
so glad it was
to
Tom
cast.
Cruise.
But
I'm so
John
glad it
Favreau was
wasn't
like,
him.
no, I want RDJ. And then
it was brilliant, and he like I said, the first one's just so good, and it's just just like I say, it's just one of those. It just beat Captain America for me, just because it was the casting. Obviously, like RDJ's great, and I think as well, like I was saying, it started the MCU, and like, I just think back to when I first watched that first Iron Man film, and to where we are now. It's just brilliant.
Well, did you have?
I feel like
fourth, Shaun?
Oh, I had Captain America.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I feel like Robert Downey Jr. played the role like the cockiness, the swagger, the
Yeah.
the role. He literally lived and breathed that character
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
he was that character.
I feel like the only
Like-
reason that Iron Man's a little lower for me is just because the two films weren't as good. I still think he's the perfect casting of that character, but he plays it so well across all the other films that he's in, like the
Yeah.
Avengers, Captain America, Civil War, Spider-Man. Whatever film he's in, he plays it perfectly. So I wasn't really judging the film, like my list on the casting itself, but more how much I enjoyed them as films. Because if I
Well,
was
but
judging
look-
things on casting, I think this would be a very different list for me.
Oh, fair. But what is it? By the looks of things, I think our top two might be pretty similar.
Yeah, they could be. I think we've probably got one of them.
I think we have got one of them top. I feel like one of them's got to be.
Well, what have we got in third then?
Third,
And
Guardians.
third, you've gone third for Guardians.
Yeah.
Fair
What have
enough.
you gone for,
I've gone
Shaun?
for Iron Man third.
I've gone for the Avengers films third.
What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Do you want me to
Sorry,
explain first?
I didn't hear you properly. Did you just say?
Avengers films are third for me.
That one hurt. That one hurt.
that hurt me in the core.
Jeez, I didn't think that was that controversial.
Okay, I guess we haven't got one in the same place.
Yeah, isn't it? I thought we were all good. I thought we was all going to be in agreement that something would be first.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Apparently not, I
The
guess.
Avenger films are brilliant. There's no doubt about that. But there's
Why
just,
third?
huh?
Why third?
I don't know. Like the two above it for me, I just like love them so much. Like the Avenger film, like there is no doubt the Avenger films are they're great films. And I'm just like they bring everything together to obviously like the end of like a phase or whatever. If it's phase 1, phase 2, I just don't know that it's just. Oh, I've had a mare.
Why?
I've just realised I changed it, and Avengers films was second.
What's third then?
Third was Guardians of the Galaxy. That was originally set, and then I changed it.
Fair
I
enough.
didn't. So, Guardians of the Galaxy is actually third.
Okay,
Okay.
same as me then. And I feel like we probably got a similar thing. Like both films were really good. Like, and they were different
Yeah.
as well. They were the most different
I-
films out of all of them.
Well, I may as well tell you my second now as well. My second is Guardians of the Galaxy.
My second's
Mm.
Captain America.
I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It literally below number one. They don't compare to any of them. Like soundtrack, the story, the characters. It's like I could happily watch both of them like back to back, like and watch them like the next day again. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like they're probably my favorite individual like standalone films.
They are so good. The
They are.
Guardians films were so different. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
first one,
Massively.
what was it? Around phase 2, wasn't it? When we've had all the other, we've had Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and then we get Guardians.
Oh
And
yeah,
oh my God, was it different and amazing? It was just had the most heart-wrenching, gut-punching start to a film out of any MCU film ever.
Mm.
And then it's just
Yeah.
flipped on its head instantly.
Yeah.
We're introduced to Peter Quill singing a song, just going after an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
Like, it's the
yeah,
most
definitely.
blasé way about going for an Infinity Stone. Like, everybody else, this source of power. And then he's just singing, kicking some space rats. And it's like, it's brilliant. It's such an interesting dynamic. It made these really unheard of superheroes household names.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I like the way that in the second one as well, they changed personalities. Like they did it so well though. Like some of the characters, like their personalities changed drastically, but they played into it so easily and so well. Like the change of whole persona of Drax, like the way he went from being like this man who was on a murder mission, he wanted to kill Ronan. He literally wanted, and like he was this person who just was blinded by hatred. And in the second one, he's cracking jokes, laughing his head off. Like the fact that like his personality changed so much, but they played it so well.
Yep, and Drax
Yeah.
gets one of the best moments in the film for me when he's talking to Mantis, and Mantis starts crying when she touches him, and he's just staring off into the distance, smiling.
Yeah.
But Dave Bautista, what an incredible actor for being able to pull that off,
Yeah.
because that is not
Oh.
easy to do.
To be fair, I'd never expected him to go into acting and actually be an
No,
actor that I actually.
Being really good, yeah.
Yeah. He's amazing.
He's
Yeah,
really good.
I put them like up there. Like they are probably my favorite standalone like set of films.
Yeah.
Very good, so
Very
good. I
good.
think what I like about them is that like it's funny, but it's also so impactful. Like when when we find out that Ego was the one that killed his mum.
Yeah.
Oh, when that happened, I literally sat there like, what? Like that was shocking for me. I was like, I didn't even expect it. Like when he said that he put the tumor, I was like, kill this.
My jaw dropped. I was like,
I think that was like the first film I ever watched where I was like, I want this villain to die. Like I want it. Like
it somehow makes space characters relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's like almost if you know how Peter Quill feels at that moment in time, and you're so like that's what makes them so good. And I think James Gunn's done a phenomenal job with those films. So I'm kind of interested to see what he'll do with the Suicide Squad film.
Yeah, well, I mean, I personally hope they do a good job with it because I feel like the concept is good, but whether they do it well is really
right. Second place, Captain America.
Well, yours is Captain America. Mine was already. We've already said ours basically.
Yeah, it makes me able to defend Avengers.
This is
a bit easier now. It's second.
This is where I defend Captain America. Captain America, out of the trilogy of films we've had, Captain America is the most solid.
Okay.
So, Captain America: The First Avenger was a good film. It wasn't a bad film. It was a good film. It was enjoyable. Origin story. Winter Soldier is one of the best Marvel films. It is top 3 for me. The Winter Soldier is. It is brilliant. When we find out that Bucky is the Winter Soldier, is incredible. The fighting, the way Sebastian Stan is flipping that knife around, catching it, going for it, like it's such a cool. The fight scenes were so cool. Natasha got more character in that film as well. She wasn't just there for the looks. She was actually got turned into a proper character with emotion, and it's so good. And when we get the end bit when when Cap refuses to fight his best friend because and Bucky ends up saving him. Oh my god, it's brilliant. And then Civil War again. I didn't think it was as good as the second one because the story wasn't there for me altogether. I think the airport scene was brilliant. Love that. The final fight scene was also really good. And I love how it introduced Spider-Man and Black Panther, but I think altogether Captain America has the most solid trilogy of films.
I feel like the third one was a very good move into like the Infinity War as well, because I feel like the way like the fight scenes and stuff like that in that film were very good as well in Civil War. My favorite fight scene in that film though is the one between Captain America, Iron Man, and Bucky.
Yes,
because that fight scene, like the fact where he just like scans and moves, and then like they have to work together to beat Iron Man, and like it's just mental how they just fight each other.
The films are emotional because you can make cases for both sides, like Iron Man and Captain America. Both of them feel like they're in the right, and you can see why both of them feel like they're in the right as well.
Yeah.
And when that end bit when Tony finds out that Steve knew that Bucky killed his parents, and then Iron Man's just I don't give a fuck, I'm killing this motherfucker. Well, the other two are just trying to disable his suit really at the end of the day. But Iron Man was
he went all out, like he was like, I want to kill him, like he went all out to like.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I feel like that is relatable as well. Like if you ever found that, like if someone murdered your parents, you ever found out who they were, then you'd probably want to do the same. Like you'd probably want to see the same fate. Like so, like I get, like I guess like to an extent that's also relatable. Like you'd feel the same way almost.
Yep, and it's again it was again with the villain, Zemo. He didn't want to kill the Avengers. He wanted to tear them apart. He wanted them
Oh,
to implode from the inside, which is such a. And he was not. He's just some regular guy who
Mm.
he hasn't got any superpowers. He's just smart and waited it out until he had everything that he needed. And it's just
Which I mean, he did.
Yeah, and he did. He succeeded. He's one of the only villains that succeeded at what he wanted to do. And yeah, and I think I think Captain America has the most solid trilogy of films. I think if Guardians, the third film, is brilliant, and Spider-Man 3 is brilliant, it could overtake Captain America for me. But currently, as a trilogy, Captain America was the most solid.
Yeah, well, I feel now Avengers, I've realised it's second. The only reason I've put Avengers second, because you two have clearly got it top. It's just literally like they are great films, but my number one is I will back it no matter what, even if the films are shit. Yeah, I don't care. I will back Spider-Man till the end of days. Spider-Man number one.
I knew you was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, innit? Like,
but it's
I've got
Avengers.
pictures. Like, yeah, I've got
it's
pictures.
all of them. Spider-Man is in
All
Infinity
of
War and
them is-
Endgame, and Endgame for me, Endgame is my favorite film of the MCU.
Yeah.
Of all of them.
That final fight scene was something else.
Cap, it just had so many moments that you've been waiting that after what 12 years 11 years have been leading up to Cap lifting Mjolnir.
When he did that, I was sitting there like I was gassed. Like
I was genuinely, it was one of those films when it's edge of the seat stuff. You're literally just staring at it, you're hooked on it. And when Iron Man said, "I am Iron Man," snapped his fingers, that was it. It was all over for me. That's the only film that's ever made me cry because I had a connection to these films. You're invested in their story. You're invested in their characters.
Even like the build up to that, like even like the fight between what was it? The fight between Black Widow and
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, when they're like when they don't want, like neither of them want the other to die, and they're literally fighting each other to save the other person's life.
Yeah.
Like that you can't write that. Like the fact that, and the amount of emotion that they actually poured into that, and they actually showed how much they cared about each other. And
it just goes to show how much the actors care about their characters that they play as well. To put this much into it, I think the casting for the MCU is brilliant.
Yeah.
Also, Endgame, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man actually got a chance to act. In the first two films, it was very much, here you go, be funny. That'll do for now. But when he saw that his daughter had grown up by 5 years, he was like, I thought it was amazing. He actually got a chance to act, which I was very happy about.
Yeah. And I love the little elements of comedy in him when he hands them the tacos when they get blown away by the ship man.
I think what Endgame does. Endgame does so well. Yeah, sorry, Shaun, you go, mate.
No, you go.
I think I remember watching a YouTube video and someone was sort of like, you can't judge Endgame as a film. It's an experience. It's an event. It's not a film. It's one of those films that come around probably every 10 years from now on.
Yeah.
Like it's a culmination of 20-something films all leading to this one moment.
Yeah.
And for Infinity War, when we see our heroes lose for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I remember they're like, I have to wait a year to find out what happens next.
Yeah.
I remember that scene in the beginning of Infinity War when Thor's ship is like completely destroyed, and it's what is it? Thanos is there. And it's like the first look at him properly.
Yeah.
And it's like seeing like the power he has and the fact that he absolutely beats the living hell out of Hulk, and Hulk's too afraid to even want to fight anymore because he got his arse handed to him. And it's just that.
Oh, sorry, go on, Shaun. Sorry, mate.
Oh, no, you go.
No, it was very much a villain that the Avengers were scared of.
Yeah.
Like Loki? Yeah, they kind of he wasn't anybody to be afraid of. It's just the fact they had a massive army that they had to fight. But when it came to Thanos, he was intimidating, and he's been pulling the strings behind all the Avengers film, everything that's been happening previously. He's been the one that's been put like he was the reason for the Guardians getting together. Basically, he was the reason for the Avengers getting together. And then to see them lose, it's like, oh my god, this guy means fucking business.
Yeah.
My favorite line is in Endgame when he's like, "You couldn't live with your failure, so where did it bring you? Back to me." And it's just the fact that he's that cocky that he's just like, "Yeah, I beat you once, I'm gonna beat you again. Like, you failed, and now you're gonna fail again."
And on your
obviously,
left,
Yeah.
oh, it's just the callbacks were perfect. It was just, I think it was just a brilliant film. It's an event. It's just,
yeah. I feel like they did well with the change of the actor that played Hulk as well. I feel like Mark Ruffalo did so well as Hulk.
There's a couple of things that I would have changed about Endgame. Like, I'd love to see another fight between Hulk and Thanos. Like, I think what could have worked is because you know how Hulk's like, he's a big angry boy.
Yeah.
And in the Incredible Hulk, it was very much the girl that if anything happens to her, he'll lose his shit. So I would like to have seen maybe Natasha start to get beaten up by Thanos or something like that. Hulk loses his like the original Hulk comes back for a little bit where Banner's gone, where Hulk really takes over, and he just starts kicking the shit into Thanos, and they have a proper fight. And maybe if he loses again, or something happens where he realizes that Natasha's safe now, that's when Banner comes back a bit. I think that would have been a really cool bit.
Natasha is strong though. Like the fact that she was literally she would have beaten Thanos if it wasn't for the fact of him basically getting his ship to shoot down on everyone. Because she was literally like ripping his suit to shreds. Just her on her own. Like the fact that she's that strong.
Have you seen WandaVision yet, Shaun?
No, I want to watch it. I need to watch it.
You've got to watch it.
It is very good.
I heard it's been very good.
Apart from the ending.
Oh, did you not like the ending then?
No.
I enjoyed the ending still.
There was I think the problem
Okay, Shaun, you got to watch it first.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
you got to watch it, and then we can explain our reasonings.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll probably binge watch it at some point.
Good lad.
Yeah, you can.
Me and Max it's like what, like 30 minutes? Friday. Yeah, every Friday we watched it. Literally, the first thing I'd wake up, do. I wouldn't check my phone. Yeah. Normally, I'd check my phone, get up, nope, TV on, watching it.
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh.
But yeah, no, Avengers is definitely top for me just because it's the
Spider-Man.
Avengers. It's the Avengers. You know, it's when they all come together to fight a similar enemy.
Yeah, even I feel like the weakest, even though it wasn't that weak, but the weakest out of all the Avenger film was Age of Ultron.
Agreed, yeah.
But even that wasn't a weak film because it was still a good film. It was still the introduction to Vision. It was still it still had big parts in it. But I feel like in comparison to the other ones, that's the least. But even so, that's still a big film. And
yeah. Well, I think that sort of brings an end to Sunday's rankings, and it was a lot more controversial than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I feel like that one was actually our longest Sunday's ranking as well.
Yeah, I didn't think it would because like we say, they're all good films. We all enjoy watching them, or at least most of them. Maybe not Thor 2.
Yeah.
But considering, just even by maybe one being a bit 2 places down, it was like, how's that there? It was good. Yeah. And probably like my Captain America one.
Yeah, that one hurt me, and my probably my Black Panther one as well for Shaun. We were like, what? Yeah. How? But we had what was it? We all agreed on Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange, was it?
Strange, yeah.
So we can agree at times.
I think that's the first time out of all the Sunday rankings we've done, we've agreed. That's the most we've agreed to in one Sunday ranking.
There's always been 2 people have agreed on something, but never all 3 of us have agreed on something.
Especially twice.
Yeah.
But I was like, when I was like, out of all of them, it was definitely what's it thingy? Captain Marvel bottom. Like
Yeah.
there was no competition in my opinion.
Well, like I say, moving on to our last topic. And Shaun, obviously, you're a bit of a coach. You know, as you've mentioned earlier, you love to. That's, I suppose, you came to UCFB being, to aspire to be some sort of coach. You know, maybe you got the England manager one day.
He's the
Maybe the
Patches
Brighton
O'Hula-
manager.
He's the Patches O'Houlihan of Brighton.
But what made you sort of want to get into coaching? What was the first sort of inspiration? Thinking, do you know what, I want to be a coach?
So like, well, when I was younger, I never really was into sports. I never really started playing football until I was maybe 13, 14, which is late in most like instances because a lot of people start playing football when they're young, like very young. So for me, like it took obviously I was less advanced than a lot of people because I hadn't started playing for a long time.
Excuse me.
I wanted to get in coaching because one of my teachers that I had when I was in secondary school, I wanted to get into sport and I wanted to start doing stuff like that, but I never really had the motivation to. But he helped me out basically and said, like, if you want to get into it, he would basically support me. So then I learned about coaching and stuff like that, and I kind of was like interested because I've always wanted to like coach other people and kind of like help other people because like I've always wanted to like because in my opinion like sport is a massive thing and obviously a big miss was when we all lost like football and stuff like that. A lot of people lost something that they really enjoyed and it's like a big part of society, and I've always wanted to like be able to coach and stuff like that, like even coach the next like player. Like I would like to be able to coach players to be able to bring them through, and like I know if even if I'm lucky to coach like the next best player, like it would be that kind of honor in my opinion. And it's obviously something that I've always found interesting because I want to play football, but I know that I am old enough now. I won't make it professionally, but if I could coach someone and help them through in their journey and they get to that point and they make something of themselves, then I feel a sense of success in myself as well because I've helped that person to that point. So it's like it's the level of enjoyment as well that I get from football. I have kind of lost motivation for it lately, but I guess obviously not being able to coach, not being able to do a lot of things, kind of help with that either. But I've always wanted to be a coach because I've always wanted to help develop people and also have that escape almost. Because some people just go to play football to escape.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
having that ability to help people as well is quite important, in my opinion.
Yeah. Obviously, like you're saying, you've got all these. I suppose it sounds like, you sort of dream as a coach is to, help, even if it's just one player, make it professionally or whatever. But you've had a few coaching jobs, obviously before COVID, like you're saying, it's been pretty shit times. But I suppose out of the times you've had these coaching jobs, have you noticed anyone you've thought, do you know what, he's got a chance or she's got a chance?
I think it was not my last job, the job before when I was coaching a team. There was maybe one or two. There was one who, if he sorted a few things out, like I couldn't do as much for me because like as myself because he was a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a goalkeeper coach. I haven't got my license yet to do stuff like that to help do goalkeeper coaching. So that was tasked with another manager, but I helped do stuff with him that worked on his footwork because that was one of the things that he needed work on because he was a very good shot stopper. Like for our team that I was managing at the time, he was able to pull off saves that I hadn't seen other kids do.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was one save that I remember so vividly in one of the games against like we were top two. We were literally battling with one other team, and we played against them. And they played in slightly bigger goals than normal, but we were under jurisdiction, so it was okay. But I remember one of the kids. They had one kid who was really good, and he was like their main player. And I remember it was a 50-50. Our keeper come out for it, and the kid like loops it over him, and he's like running back and manages to flick it onto the crossbar, and manages to like save it like literally fingertips. Like, and I was watching other kids play. I was watching other teams that we were against, and I didn't see kids able to do that at his age. So like in our league, like he was the only kid that I saw that was able to have that ability to stop shots comfortably. I don't know if it was because he was taller than some of the kids his age, or if he was more like he was born at a certain time. Because if you're born at certain periods of time, you can develop quicker than others.
Yeah.
But like his ability to like react and stuff like that. But his only problem he had, which wasn't even a massive issue, was if there was a potential for someone to look at him to come like to scout, he would get so nervous and erratic that he would make decisions that he never would normally do.
Yeah.
So I had to try and basically coach him on his nerves and coach him on being calm and composed when like there is an opportunity that arises, because I said to him, you need to be able to compose yourself when someone is coming to look at you, because if you don't, then you're going to make mistakes. And I said, this isn't me like basically saying you're doing poorly or anything like that. This is me saying you genuinely have a shot if you continue on this path, but you need to be able to focus.
Yeah.
And that was his one weakness. I mean, I hope he's doing well now, because he got better, but
Yeah.
I lost my job there because of COVID, so I don't really know what's going on.
Well, I just want to come back to something. You were talking about how, depending on when you're born, you develop differently. So how does that work, and how does that affect sort of going into football?
So there's like, so I remember, well, I learned about this in one of my courses. So basically, you have a cycle. So you have early, mid, and late developers. So it comes around August. So basically, if you're born at the end of August to December, you are classed as late. If you're born from January to April, you are early, and then in between that, you are like classed as mid.
Yeah.
So I've been
So you
shafted then.
basically.
Well, I'm
Thanks,
early,
Mum and Dad.
apparently.
So if I remember this correctly, it might be like a couple months in between, but it's around that time period.
Yeah.
But basically, this is why like players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, for instance, he for Southampton was put down a year because of his development was later. He didn't develop physically as the same as his kids in his age. So the Southampton development put him down to the lower age group so he could develop with them, because of the level that he was developing at was slower than the others in his age group. Because
so is
of
that why I still look like a child?
Maybe, you never know.
I've been shafted by genetics.
But yeah, so that's a theory anyway. That's like because that's what's been found, that people who are born certain months, certain times in a year are likely to develop faster. That's why some people born earlier in the year have better brain cognitive abilities when they're younger than people who are born later in the year.
So I've been shafted again. What's going on?
So you were talking about like how Oxlade-Chamberlain got put down a year. Is that a case where they saw he had the ability and he was good enough, but he hadn't developed, so they moved him down until he had? But would there be players out there who were in a similar position to Oxlade-Chamberlain? but they
Well,
let them go, thinking you haven't developed yet, and you haven't necessarily you're not this star-studded player that we think.
yeah, there is that unfortunate potential that can happen, because there is obviously some players who are born naturally gifted, or there isn't so much as seen as like a certain gene or something like that people have that makes them good. It's just, I feel like there is an element of luck, but there's also an element of like nature versus nurture, how they're brought up, how they develop quicker. Because for me, I had a growth spurt and stuff like that later than most people, and I feel
me
like
and Max have had ours.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine.
like there are some players that are so good at a young age and that are so good in the youth academies that are up to a certain point, but when that growth spurt hits, they're not going to be the player they were before, because their body's changed. If they have a growth spurt and they get really tall really quickly, they're not going to be used to having longer limbs. They're not going to be used to being able to move. Their body's going to have to be able to use more oxygen, be able to develop, and they have to develop over time. They can't just learn how to use that straight away. And I feel like some clubs or some development academies drop players because of that instance, because they have seen this player that's come through that's been amazing, and one player that was amazing and now he's a growth spurt is now with the same level as the people below him.
To be fair,
And then
I was gonna say you never really think about it like that. Like when you the fact that players are being dropped because, but I know it's not what you say, but like you're saying, like they grow and then because they're so tall, they're not used to having, they lose maybe their lower sense of gravity or whatever it is.
yeah, they
And so
have to
their
learn.
dribbling not as good. And yeah, so it's like you don't think it like that. I've never thought like, I mean, I'm not that tall anyway, but even if I did have a growth spurt and I got a few inches, I wouldn't think it's going to make much of a difference to how I play sport in general.
Yeah, but naturally, when you grow, your body has to adapt. But your body, well, the way we're built, the way humans are built, we don't adapt as quickly as, like, say, other mammals do. We have to. It takes time. So if you are going from being someone who's short, who's quick, who's got lower center of gravity, can get into between tight spaces, stuff like that. You have a growth spurt. Your body's changed dramatically. Then you try and play the same way. It's in a lot of cases, it's not going to work the same, because your body is going to work differently, because it is developed in a different way to the way you were originally.
Yeah.
It's like being able to, I don't know, you could shoot 10 for 10 in penalties, but all of a sudden your feet get bigger, so you take longer strides, or you have more power in your legs. Like, you have a different part of your foot that you have to hit with, because usually you're used to having your foot a certain size, so you're usually hitting on a different bit. You have to hit it on a certain bit, so you have to adjust for that. You have to adjust your angle. You have to adjust the way you move. Like, if your legs get longer, you have to adjust how many strides you take before you reach a ball. So it's all about, like, these different microscopic changes, but they can have a massive impact on someone's ability.
It is. It's quite, like you're saying, like, I'd never would have thought about that.
No,
Yeah, you don't, do
don't.
you, Max?
Puberty killing careers.
I mean, it can.
It is.
Probably why Messi's so good. He's not gone through puberty yet.
I think Messi was lucky because he had the time to adapt to his growth, because he had medical surgery to help his growth. But his wasn't as quick as what most people's is, because, like, for us, example, like, if like when I had my growth spurt, I went from being one of the shortest to one of the tallest in a short period of time. So I had to adapt to being now one of the taller people in my class. So if you can imagine, like, that massive spurt in a short period of time, you're not going to be used to that for a while.
Yeah.
Your body's going to work differently. Your organs and stuff like that are gonna have to use more oxygen. There's an easy chance you get winded easier. So for Messi, he was almost gifted in the way of like, obviously he wasn't gifted in the fact that he had a growing disability, but it was the fact that they gave him surgery and stuff like that helped him grow over a period of time, so he could slowly get. Obviously, he was growing, but he could almost acclimatize to that.
Oh, okay.
As well as obviously the fact that he's naturally gifted as well.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing
yeah.
is I
Here
can
we
have
go.
surgery and I'll be taller.
I
What do they do?
It-
Just put
it's
some new
just-
shins in you or something like that, and a new bone. You're done.
think they did like bone. I think he had something. He had like a bone marrow or something like that. It was something to do with his bones weren't growing properly, so they had to use certain things to help with his.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can actually have surgery, I think, to help you grow, or to like. But I feel like it has to be done at the period of time where you are growing or
Fuck
where
that.
you're meant to grow.
Well, that's
Because
that then.
well, when you hit puberty, your whole makeup in your body changes. You have obviously increased testosterone. You have increased like blood flow. You have all these different things that increase exponentially because your body is growing. You have all these cells that have to work harder because of the size and the difference in your body. Because your body isn't obviously used to being in that situation, so it takes a while to acclimatize to being like that. That's why certain players are better with their size because their body acclimatized to it quicker. So you see players like Ibra, for instance. He obviously had the ability and stuff like that from a young age, but his body grew to a size that, for him, he was able to develop over a long period of time. But there's also another theory which is basically called 10,000 hours, which is predicted that you're meant to play for at least 10,000 plus hours before you hit your peak. So players train, like if you're a kid, for instance, you have probably at a young age, you'd have maybe 2-3 games a week if you play for your school team and a team on the weekend, plus training sessions. So you think those that's at least maybe 5-6 hours a week as a kid. So over the years, obviously those hours build up. So then your body's obviously acclimatizing to performing at a level. When that changes, you have to do it. You basically have to do it again. You have that previous knowledge. You have that previous knowledge, and you have that previous ability, but you have to rework those muscles. You have to rework that kind of instinct almost. Because to develop something, even if it's changed, the core like mental process, you know what you have to do. You know the actions. It's just being able to acclimatize your body to knowing what you already did know. But naturally, taller people aren't as agile and have as much balance as shorter people.
Yes. We have
We've got a
balance.
little one. We have a little one there, Max. That's why you fell over on the ice, weren't it, Shaun? Because you're tall.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, don't know if you wanted to.
I've got one more.
Oh, you got one more question.
I've
Okay.
got one more thing. Just because the times when you were coaching, Shaun, and you were coaching teams and you had matches, the amount of times I remember, it sounds like quite a stressful job at times. Because I'd come back, you'd come back, it'd be pouring down with rain. You've probably just lost 9-0. And it's just like, I know, but then like the week after, you're winning like 15-0. So it's just sounds like a roller coaster of emotion being a coach.
It can be stressful. It can be, at times you can be on Mount Everest, and then other times you're literally like in a ditch somewhere. Like you're literally, that's like, emotionally it can be so rewarding, but it can also be so draining. Because especially if you're working with parents as well.
Yeah.
Some parents, if you well, don't know if you played in a team or something like that.
Yeah.
some parents don't really know what's best for their kid, but they think they do.
Yeah.
So they try to tell you what to do, or they try and influence your decisions because of what they want for their kid, which isn't always necessarily what's best for their development.
Yeah.
Like, I've had instances where I've had parents telling the kid what to do when I've already explained to them what they need to do. And I've had to have words with them saying, like, this is my job. I'm being paid to do this. I am in charge of this team. If you want to be helpful, support them, but don't speak. Because
Okay.
I literally said, because what you're saying isn't going to help them. And I've had confrontations with parents who think that they know better than me, and I'm like, what do you know about football? Like, what do you genuinely know about the workings of football, positions, stuff like that? And most of the time, they don't know anything.
Fair enough. I mean,
and I've said to them, I was like, I like your enthusiasm, and I'm saying, like, I like you being here to support them, but when you try and undermine me, it doesn't help me or the team. So basically, it can be stressful. It can be very stressful.
Create an example of what parents have told you.
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh God.
Fuck off,
Can you
Shaun.
bleep it out? Can you bleep it out? No. So I had one parent saying to me, it was after a training session. She was like, "Oh, why are you ditching my son in right back?" Like she was like, "Oh, I feel like you're just ditching him there." I'm like, "What?" I literally my first like reaction was like, "Sorry, what? You think I'm ditching your son in right back?" I'm like, "Do you know what position right back is?" And she was like, "No." I was like, I didn't really even have a right back position. I literally had him at right wing. Literally, because because it was 9-a-side, I would literally play a 3 and then 2 wingers, and then I'd play a midfield and then 2 up top.
Yeah.
So like that would be my structure. And I was like, I'm not playing him at right back, I'm playing him at right wing. And I said, I'm not ditching, even if he was at right back, I said, I'm not going to ditch anyone anywhere. If I'm putting someone in a position, it's because I have seen their ability or their capability in that role. I see that they are improving in that role, or they have played well in that role. So if they're getting game time and they are performing well and they are improving visibly, then why is that an issue? I said, if you're starting in the first place, you're not being ditched in any way.
Yeah.
I think that you're good enough to play in that position, so I'm going to play you there. And I said to her, I was like, unless you'd rather me bench him.
Shaun with the big bench that.
No, I'm like, I said to her, I was like, would you rather me not play him in that position and him start on the bench, or would you rather me play him in the position that I see him improving in and help him develop? Like,
what did she say?
And she actually said sorry, and she even admitted, she said, I don't really know much about football. And I was like, I said to her, I was like, it's okay. I said, I'm not like angry with it. I'm just saying that I know, I see them improving. I train them every week. I was like, I know my players now. This was after I'd been with them for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had a good idea of what everyone's ability was and what kind of roles they suited. I did every now and again try players in different positions to see.
Yeah, I mean, they're at the age where they shouldn't have a set position really, so they see where they fit the best.
Yeah. Which I didn't have him as a set position. I just had him there because he was starting, and in that moment, I saw him improving. So I'm not going to take him out of a position that I see someone improving. Naturally, like. And if he wanted to play in a different position and there was space to, and there was the time to try him in that position, I would try him there. But because of the team I was with, unfortunately was very money orientated, I had 18 players to fit into a team of 9.
Bloody hell.
So
Yeah.
I had a starting team, and I had another starting team on the bench.
Yeah.
So I had to try and find different positions that weren't needed to be filled, because there was players I had that I wanted to bring on like specifically for positions, and other ones that were specifically to try them out in different positions if they wanted to try that out. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I had so many players to use that I didn't get to always try players out in different positions, because I had such a need for, like, so many of them wanted to play in one position, which was striker.
Yeah. That's
So-
natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
A kid.
Yeah, so I had to try and basically explain to them that I'm not going to have 13, well, I'm not going to have like 9 players up front. I said that I will give you a chance up front, but I will have to play you in other positions as well because of the amount of players that we have.
Yeah.
Got that squad
I think
depth.
I only had maybe 1 or 2 players that were key players, like that were
Yeah.
like I had my goalkeeper,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a midfielder, a centre midfielder, because he was pretty much the like driving force of the team, because he was able to go forward and go back.
Yeah.
So he was like the only player that I would hardly substitute. I would still substitute him because I still want to give other people chances, but I wouldn't. If it came to it, I would either change his position, because he was so integral for the team and he helped bring other people in as well, which helped them develop. Because if he wasn't playing, then a lot of the time we wouldn't be able to sustain keeping the ball. We wouldn't be able to sustain attacks. And
Yeah.
having him in there helped other people, because if they made a mistake, they had that cover because he was there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and some people are like, oh, why is he starting all the time? I said, the parents asked me that, and I said the reason why he starts is to relieve some of the pressure from the other players. I said the reason why he starts all the time is to help the others, because he is that safety bracket that we have.
Yeah.
Because he was the one always running. He never stopped running. Like, and at that age, they should be, well, a lot of them should be able to do that. Because they are young, there's not a high chance of them getting injured, and a lot of them should be quite fit. I remember doing a fitness session with them to see where everyone was at, and they did not like it.
Yeah, I don't blame them. I hated a fitness session at training. I remember walking up to training once, like, yeah, bleep test. Like, yeah, I'm going. I'm gone. I'm turning around.
I wanted to work on their agility, so I did an agility circuit. Like, I wanted to work on their, like, ability to be able to turn with a ball. So I gave them a ball and I said, okay, you've got this avenue to work between these cones. I want to see how many times you can get in between these cones in a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And I to make it enjoyable for them, I turned it into a game. So I said, like, whoever gets the most gets an ice cream.
Oh, okay.
There would be like an ice cream shop down the road, so like it would be like it would feed the fuel to like
Yeah.
I
Got
get ya.
to try and strive to.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
which is very difficult to get kids to engage.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you have does sound like a very stressful job at times. But if you had to give one piece of advice for an aspiring coach, what would you say, Shaun?
Always listen to criticism, but if you believe personally that you are doing the best for that person, then keep doing what you're doing. But all criticism is good, even if it's from someone that you know that doesn't really have much knowledge in that field. If it's something that you actually see that you actually are doing and stuff like that, it's always helpful. So always keep it into consideration.
Nice.
Nice, yeah.
Well, I think we can end it there now.
Yeah. I think that's a good, I
Yeah.
think it's a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shaun, for coming on
Yeah.
and giving
Thank
us
you.
your insight into coaching.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, our next guest, known by many names again, loves it. He does say that he's born in the wrong generation, the wrong era. Loves his ABBA, loves his Venga Boys. He's another friend of mine and Brandon who we live with at uni. So yeah, he'll be on the next episode.
It's also known by Dom Davis.
So yeah, thank you again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.